For the rest of my life. Nah, I'm going. Chris, this is how we starting off. Yeah. I mean, in the meantime, we could what could we do in the meantime before we started off? I mean, we could start off with the do I still have live footage from this one? Hold on. Let me see if I got live footage from this. I don't think the sound is on with this one, so I'm going to have to remove it. I don't think there's sound on that one. Let me try another one. Let me try another classic. See, I think is that the first one? Or?
Come on, let's go.
This ninja was diabolical. This ninja was diabolical for real, man.
All I want to do is feeling on your booty. That is all I want to do.
This ninja was diabolical, man. I remember when I saw the video on YouTube, the people in the comment section were, man, they had me crying. They had me legit crying. I was like, y'all are crazy. Somebody said they were like, R. Kelly flipping through those pages. No, he's not reading a damn word on there. That's so messed up. But that was funny. Let me see. Do I also have the do I have the passport video? I know I have. I know I have that in my bag. I definitely know I have that in my bag. Yeah, here I am in Ethiopia. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, for a minute there, I thought I didn't have the video anymore. Oh, man.
I got a problem. The day before I got on the plane to come out here, me and my girl broke up. Yeah, we broke up. And it was over something really, really silly. Something we shouldn't have broken up over. But it is. It is what it is. We broke up, and here I am in Ethiopia tonight. Question.
Oh, man. By the way, if you guys get the chance, hold on. Let me keep this playing. If you guys get the chance, let me show you guys something real quick via my YouTube. Let me see if I can share the screen real quick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you guys get the chance, Corey Henry solo to Melvin Crispin, "Wonderful Is Your Name." Man, I was just watching that. I'm like, this boy here is just a one-man army. If he when he wants to be, he can be just a one-man army. You know, Corey Henry, man, it's that best organist in the world. Man, this man here, man, you gotta listen to this. He was killing it. By the way, the reason why I bring up this video, you'll be surprised how influential one video can be. Just one video. There's a lot of Asian kids I know. They said that they watched this and then they started doing gospel music right after they saw this video. So it's, you can never discount the influence. Hold on, let me go back to this.
You gotta be single. Single ladies, put your hands in the air right now so I can see you. It's so many, I'm confused. Single ladies, single ladies. Now, I would like to get to know you and talk to you and have a drink or something, and we can just have something to eat and just... But at the end of the conversation, I'm going to want you to come back to America with me. I know I am. So you got to be willing to split the difference. Come to America and see me. I come out here to see you in Ethiopia. But it's so hard to get back and forth, Problem. How am I going to get you from Ethiopia to America? Let me think.
This ninja was sick. This ninja was sick.
I got it. Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America? America. Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America?
Okay, enough of the buffoonery.
Enough from the clown.
All right, enough of the buffoonery. Let's get back to the main topic at hand. We got the Candace Owens versus Andrew Wilson, the great debate, apparently. Oh, my goodness. First of all, somebody should have told me that this debate was going to happen. I don't think anybody gave me a message. Maybe Lorette did, and I didn't check the message, but I don't think nobody sent me nothing, man.
See that too.
Had I known that this debate was going to occur, I would have went out of my way and be like, look, I would have texted AJ and I would have asked him, do you have a connect? Do you have a direct line towards your guy? Or is that still your guy, Andrew Wilson? If you have a connect towards him, tell him not to do that debate because he's not, how do I say this without being disrespectful? I'll say the conventional answer. He was going to get smoked. Okay. I'm trying not to be disrespectful. But had I known beforehand that this debate was going to occur, I would have watched it live instead of watching the replay. But also, I would have asked for a direct line to Andrew Wilson, and I would say, don't do this debate. You're going to lose. First of all, you're going to lose. That's just overall on the overall premise. Number two, you're not smarter than Candace Owens, believe it or not. Number three, you're going to get clipped because Candace Owens is definitely going to get clips out of you just off of default. You're going to fuck up. She's going to have some people are going to have clips on you. Candace Owens, yes, she is right wing, but all the women are going to be rooting for her because of your stance. It's going to be a lose-lose for you, just optics wise. So any slam dunk, any dunk she gets on you, it's going to be like plus 10 points. So it's not like, you know how like in the basketball, you shoot outside the line is a 3-pointer, inside the line is a 2-pointer, but a layup and a dunk is the same thing. It's 2 points. But in this case, since it's Candace Owens, she is a black woman. She's a woman. She's black. And even though she is on the right hand side, liberal women and liberal men, people are going to be rooting for her. And anybody with common sense knows that Candace Owens has the right to feel the way that she feels about the Charlie Kirk situation. Something's off about the situation. Anybody with two eyes, anybody that remembers how 9/11 happened, everybody that reminds. So she's working with everything on her favor. And Wilson, you're putting yourself, you paid $300,000 to debate her. You're going into her house, it looks like, from what I'm seeing, or the PBD spot. I don't know where they're doing this, but I think it's at her. I think this was done at her house. I could be wrong. This was definitely not something you should have taken. And I hope Andrew Wilson, you know who Andrew Wilson reminds me of, now that I think about it? Anybody seen Steven Seagal movies, the actor Steven Seagal? And a lot of people, particularly the men that he's worked with, the performers or the martial artists they work with, Steven Seagal, he forgets that what he's doing, he's just an actor. He really thinks he's that guy that he's on that he portrays in the movies. So he really thinks that he's like a real martial artist and he's really that guy. And people will say, well, he forgets that he's just an actor. So Andrew Wilson, he's kind of like the Steven Seagal of the I guess of that conservative branch. So only Michael J. White has been like, he's the only person that has called him out and just been, nah, this guy, he's delusional. he really thinks he's a legend he really thinks he's a legend in his own mind. Well, he is, but he means like in terms of, he really thinks he's that fighter on screen. He really thinks that he's that in real life. So that's I think that's a comp. That's a fair comp, in my opinion. That's a fair comp. B. Watkins says Steven Seagal genuinely sucks. Kunami says, I've never heard a positive story about Steven Seagal. It's not just the martial artists he's worked with. It's people in general. People will see like he's super arrogant. Some people have said that you're not allowed to look at him when he's off stage. Sorry, when he's filming and oh no, no, sorry, that's somebody else. But basically, he really thinks he's that person on the screen. He's what now I know for sure. He has the reason why I've really have a negative disposition towards him is he said so many negative things towards guys that were actual martial arts champions, like actual champions, people that have been in tournaments and have actually won things. And then he'll do films with those guys, and then they'll ask him about, what do you think about this guy? What do you think about this guy that you used to work with, Van Damme, and I'm blanking on his name. I think his name is Van Damme, Michael J. White, etc. Guys that actually were they've actually put in work in the martial arts scene. They have proof of their works, and he'll just diss them. They'll go out of his way to diss them. Yeah, John Claude Van Damme. That's why I'm blanking on these people's name. But they've even then, like with John Claude Van Damme, I've seen that video that he did, and he was still trying to be as respectful as possible towards Steven Seagal. He says, I know he's like, I know he's talked crap about me, but it is what it is. They try to be as respectful as possible because he is a filming legend, but he really thinks he's that. So that's my comp. Andrew Wilson, he really thinks he's some master debater, right? He really thinks he's like a great debate artist, and he has been able to trick. He's tricked a lot of people. I think the majority into people believing that he's really that guy. I've never been impressed with him. me personally. But it is what it is. He does have a fan base. He has a strong fan base, but he has a lot of bots as fans as well. He has you can look at my older live streams that I've done on Andrew Wilson. He pays for bots. So I don't really have that kind of respect for him. He can only look good when he's debating 18-year-old OF models on the whatever podcast. And just based off that, he takes that and then he's selling a debate course, and all these things. But people really think he's really that guy. So much so that Turning Point USA has basically hired him to be to I guess to offer their people debating skills class and all these stuff. So they even fell for the nonsense. But anyways, anybody that was really Andrew Wilson's fan, like a friend of Andrew Wilson's, they would have told him not to debate Candace Owens. He was always going to lose. Just off the optics, he's going to lose, just based off of what he was going to be arguing on. And obviously, what they were debating about was his premise is there's overwhelming evidence that what's that boy's name? The shooter that they said was the shooter, Tyler Robinson or Tyler Duncan. I'm blanking on his name. The fall guy that they gave us, he's taking the position that the fall guy that they gave us, there's overwhelming evidence that he was the shooter. And Candace Owens, in her theories, they're off. That's the position that he's taking. I don't know how much money Turning Point USA gave him to get, to run on that position, but let me see, Tyler Duncan or Tyler Robinson, I think his name was. Yeah, Tyler Robinson. So this is this was just not a smart move on his end. But anyways, let's watch this debate. Fair use, by the way, fair use. Here we go.
Live. Candace, Andrew, good to sit down here with you, talking to you guys about the conversation that I think started with you being on Joe Rogan when you said, hey, I'm offering $300,000. And for the audience watching this, you have to know when you see this final product, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors. There was still communication till midnight, even some of the stuff this morning. It's like you're trying to sell a company. It's the last 24 hours that the deal doesn't work out, but kudos to both of you guys that you made it work. The topic of discussion today, how this got prompted is, Andrew, you said there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And Candace, your position was he's a patsy. Tyler Robinson is a patsy. So, of course, we'll talk about a lot of different things, but that's kind of how the whole thing got started. For the audience watching, I think this is
that's just, I don't know why I don't know how much Turning Point USA paid him. Maybe $300,000. First of all, Andrew Wilson does not have $300,000 liquid. That's my position. If you want me to be honest, that's Turning Point USA's money. That's or Erica Kirk's money, or what's that boy's name? Shapiro. That's his money. Andrew Wilson got he got 2 kids and then 3 other stepkids that he's got to take care of, and a wife. This boy does not have $300,000 liquid. No disrespect, but that money, and I'm not saying he's not making no money on YouTube, but when you're taking care of 5 kids, two of them are yours, 3, and then you taking care of 3 other bastards, and he's probably and he's probably paying lawyer fees to make sure the other baby fathers stay away and all these things. He does not have $300,000 liquid. And all them, first of all, and all them smokes and them drinks, all the drugs he be taking. He does not have $300,000 liquid. Konami says Andrew Wilson's strategy is simple: gaslight until your opponent is too frustrated to continue, then declare yourself the winner. Yeah, I've said this, or I've said something similar. But like I said, it's so easy for us to see that. But for some reason, he gains a fan base by doing this. I don't know why people don't see the obvious, because it's obvious. That's what he does. If you catch him being wrong, he's going to try to change the subject, as he's going to give you a distracting ass question to change the subject as quickly as possible and be an a-hole about it so it can frustrate you. But we all know, like, the tactics like that, it's not going to work with anybody of competence. That's why he cherry picks a lot of the debates that he does. And hence why he found his niche with those OF models on the Whatever podcast. XVY JC says, I love how Candace calls out his disingenuous debate tactics in real time. And you also said, well said, he uses a lot of rage baiting and logical fallacies. But it's pretty easy for us to pick that up.
Truly for three different people. Number one is anybody out there that loves Charlie, respects Charlie, his legacy, what he did. We have a lot of love and admiration for what he did. He changed the lives of many people, young men, young women. You worked with him for many years. You guys were friends. You've said a lot of good things about Charlie, respectful towards him. You guys may have disagreed on something, but you got a lot of respect for him. The second audience is the folks out there, you that's watching this. And so for you, you've been wanting something like this to take place. And kudos for Andrew for coming out and saying, hey, I want to have this conversation, and for Candace to accept it. So you have the ability to say, I agree, I disagree, comment to all the stuff that you're doing online. And if you want to see more of these things, any of the 3 channels, subscribe to them, The Candace Show, The Crucible. I'm sure some of the people from Crucible are watching as well, and the PBD podcast. The more you subscribe to this, the more we're able to deliver these types of conversations to you. And last but not least, it's about the two of you. My goal is to speak as little as possible. 99% of the time, it'll be you guys speaking, and the audience will be able to see it. If I jump in, just so everybody knows, on the back end, both have agreed. In the back, there's 3 people representing Andrew and 3 people representing Candace to do fact checking. So at any point, if somebody makes a claim, the other can say, can we fact check this? I can jump in and say, fact check this. Even the folks in the back can say, fact check this. So it is a very fair conversation.
Hold on for a second. Oh, no, I'm good. But I've already seen what's that clown's name? Why I'm blanking on these people's names? Crowder. Yes, Crowder. I've already seen the Crowder reaction towards it. And of course, Crowder is taking Andrew Wilson's side. Like I said, these people are clowns. So I've seen already videos and reactions towards that. But the general consensus is Candace Owens won the debate.
And that we're having here. And so with that being said, kudos to Michael Knowles. Your name was mentioned a lot. You missed out right now. The last 10 minutes, we talked about you. There's a lot of love and respect here mutually from both parties, all 3 of them here. And then, of course, the great Joe Rogan that started this conversation. And he also volunteered, but it ended up being this format that we have here today. So with that being said, Andrew, your claim is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, open comments.
Sure. And what I mean by overwhelming is I just find it very convincing. That's I think that's what most people mean when they say overwhelming evidence. So I have a brief opening statement. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Many of you already know a lot about the events.
And this is the opening statement. He's reading this from his phone. Just, but anyways, I'm going to just leave that alone.
Occurred after Kirk's death. You remember the ghoulish laughter, celebrations, and madness we saw from leftists all over, from TikTok invasions, debates, posts on social media, destruction of memorials, and things like this. Within weeks of Kirk's death, a cottage industry began to form, peddling various alternative theories on how he died. What special interest may have killed him, what nations were involved, and was our own government one of them? Because this was the first nationwide traumatic event in Gen Z's lifetime, the demand for answers was severe and palpable. The leading theory from the conspiracy verse is that Israel worked with the United States government to murder Charlie Kirk. Within a day or two of Kirk's death, Ian Carroll claimed that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, and the conspiracy caught on like wildfire. This theory was built on one misleading piece of evidence, that in his final days, on around September 8th, Charlie sent a text message reading, "Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." This was sent in the context of a platforming dispute regarding Tucker Carlson. From this scintilla of misleading information, it was speculated that Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he would have successfully opposed the Iranian war. Now, that's a fun theory, and who doesn't like a good, fun conspiracy theory? I like them. But there is no evidence that Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk.
By the way, is Andrew Wilson Jewish? I never really bothered to really I don't think I've really done the research behind that. Is Andrew Wilson Jewish, or does he have some kind of a Jewish background? Or how about this? Is Crowder Jewish? That's probably the better. That might be the better question. Is Crowder Jewish? Because I don't think Andrew Wilson's Jewish. XBYJZ says he even reads in a smart ass tone. But it's
And if Candace has,
I was gonna make a different comparison, but I've already talked about it last week. How we think it's almost like how we think that Mexicans are great at soccer, but that's not true. I've already talked about that at nauseam. But Andrew Wilson, he's what you call, he's a hack. He's definitely a hack.
I'd like her to actually show it to me. I'm open to suggestions, but to date, there hasn't been any. There is, however, tons of evidence that a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, just as Charlie feared they would. I believe Charlie Kirk, and I have the receipts. No, I didn't have a dream where he came to me and told me that the left killed him. No, he didn't come to me a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened.
That's a shot at Candace Owens.
In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession never before seen messages from Charlie Kirk to his security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th. Whatever could he have meant by that? Well, I think he meant exactly what he said, that he was worried the left was going to try to kill him. Now, we'll discuss this more later on in the debate, and maybe I have more never before seen evidence that exposes just how wrong and, in my opinion, idiotic many of these conspiracy theories have been. But that's what happens when you rely on what's called the evidence of the gaps. In other words, they don't have evidence, they seem to just make up evidence. And what did they make up? Well, in my opinion, kind of whatever lined the pockets. And I think it's ghoulish to profit off of the death of a good man. But we came here today to debate, and so let's get to it. The debate topic today is 1, my belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and 2, Candace's belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was a patsy and didn't kill Charlie Kirk. In sum, the audience is going to decide who has more evidence supporting their theory. My theory is that the state is correct that Tyler Robinson is the killer, at least based on evidence so far, and Candace's theory that Tyler Robinson is not the killer and he's a patsy set up by the feds. To be clear, this is not a question of reasonable doubt. If it was reasonable doubt, and that's all it was, and that's all Candace was proffering, I wouldn't even be here having the debate with her. It's fair to have doubts, as the trial has yet to occur, and the state hasn't even begun to try to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, but Candace makes a more forceful claim. She claims that there's more evidence that Tyler is not guilty of murder and was set up as a patsy than there is for the state's case, and I just think that that's absurd.
Shout out to Pyro in the chat. What's happening? By the way, somebody should have told me that this debate was going to happen, man. I would have done a whole, I would have, like, right when it ended, I would have done a whole reaction like I did last time when CGA and Andrew Wilson debated. But even with that debate came out of nowhere. I had no idea that was going to happen as well.
And she will not be able to demonstrate that in any way. In fact, she has almost no real evidence at all of her theory, whereas my theory is supported by compelling witness testimony, physical evidence, multiple confessions, all of which are independently compelling, but which are even more convincing as each piece of evidence corroborates the others. You'll notice the term overwhelming was included in both theories. This is because Candace demanded I defend my use of that term, which I think is fair, in describing the evidence against Tyler Robinson. She, on the other hand, only wanted to defend her theory as merely viable. That is, until I showed her clips in which she said she believed the evidence of her theory, that Tyler Robinson's a patsy, was supported by overwhelming evidence. Only then did she agree to defend that position. Regardless, we're both defending the claim that there's overwhelming evidence on our side, so it's worth defining that term. When I say the evidence against Robinson is overwhelming, all I'm saying is that I mean that as of right now, I find it very convincing. I see almost no evidence at all, only speculation on verified claims and suggestions of things that could merely be hypothetically possible. Dreams, vibes, feelings, things like this. Almost done, by the way. I have no problem defending the state's case and welcome Candace bringing up any challenges she would like, but if I'm honest, the reason I was willing to pay the $300,000 for this debate was to finally have a chance for someone to demand Candace be held accountable for the unbelievable theories and claims she's been making.
Nigga, that is not your 300K. Look, I could be wrong about this. You don't got to follow my lead, but nah, that you don't have 300K liquid. Nope. TPUSA fronted you that money. That's why you went on Joe Rogan and said, I'm willing to pay 300K to debate. Why would you, of all people, just out of curiosity, I'm putting 300K to debate Candace Owens about this specific thing that you really have no ties to, even though all of a sudden you do a meeting with TPUSA. Now you're working with them basically. Now all of a sudden, $300K to debate Candace Owens, the one person that's the biggest threat to that whole nonsensical organization. That's TPU. That's their loan. They gave him they gave Andrew Wilson a 360 360 music record deal. We're loaning you this $300K. We need you to make Candace Owens look like a fool because we believe you as this great master debater. So we're gonna front your $300K, but we're gonna need that $300K back in interest. They gave that nigga a 360 deal. Oh man. But anyways, let me keep this playing.
Candace's investigation is indistinguishable from a leftist operation. She couldn't be doing more damage to the right if she were trying. She uses her considerable platform to relentlessly attack one of the most influential conservative outreach organizations for young people, and she's making a mockery of the online right-wing commentary class. She's harming Republicans in an election year by dividing them. She's attacking the very organization Charlie spent his life building, and she's attacking the people he loved, including his wife. And it cost me $300,000, but today I hope that she finally answers for some of that.
Thank you, Andrew. Candace?
Did you get it out of your system?
I did.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to waste time with the preamble because I think I just want to get to the substance of the debate, and we'll just speak to the audience. I've obviously had an audience since we've been covering this case. People know that there was a personal friendship between me and Charlie, and diminishing the pursuit of something that makes sense regarding what happened on September 10th by throwing it to this is just people who are conspiracy theorists. These are people who are just trying to generate clicks. I don't think that people should be satisfied by that. I want people to remember that it's important to think. We've been lied to by the government a great many times over, I mean, just the last couple of years, if you just think of the things that we've learned about our government.
By the way, Andrew Wilson had said something about, oh, this is what Charlie Kirk texted me. But somebody brought up a video from Erica Kirk saying when her husband got shot, or when her husband got taken out, she said herself that nobody, like he wasn't even getting any text messages, or he wasn't sending any text messages about his life being threatened and all of this nonsense. So somebody found that. Let me see if I can actually find that specific lie, because I think I saved the clip. Oh no, I didn't save the clip, but somebody did save the clip of Erica Kirk debunking. Yeah, Andrew Wilson, he on a 360 rapper deal. That's not his $300K. Give me a break. Bruh, stop. You know how like those NFL players where you'll have certain NFL players, they'll complain that their money is not enough, and people be like, well, you're making millions of dollars. Well, yes, but then on top of that, they got the baby moms, kids with multiple moms. So you already know that child support. You got the agents you got to pay. You got the lawyers that you got to keep on retainer. Remember, if you're famous, you got to have a lawyer on retainer. So this is why you'll have certain athletes, they'll complain about being broke because they'll have all of this on the side that they got to pay for. So they can't really just pull out $300K or whatever 100K pure liquid a lot of the times, believe it or not. You'll have a lot of these athletes, they're living paycheck to paycheck. Now, let's bring it back to Andrew Wilson. I told you earlier, he has 5 kids to take care of, I think. Right? Yeah, 5 kids, because he has 2 kids with the broad Rachel Wilson. He has two kids with her, and then she had 3 outside kids. He's taking care of all of that, and taking care of her, and probably taking care of her extended family. Now, Andrew Wilson, he's making decent money off of YouTube, but he's not making that much. He's not making like OD crazy money like that. And then you got to take care of all of that. Nah, he doesn't have $300K liquid. TPUSA fronted him that money, but it was a loan. That's not like something that you like you know how with the rappers, they give him the money, but it's a loan. It's not that the money is not theirs. They have to make that money back. So whatever money that they gave them for like studio time or producing credits and all these stuff, they have to make that money back and more just so they can break even. So right now, Andrew Wilson is kind of signed to a kind of twisted 360 deal, like them rappers are. That's what I think. That $300K, that's a loan right there. I paid. Nobody, no grown man is paying $300K just to debate somebody else in their own home. No. Turning Point USA hired him to try to not only debate Candace Owens and make her look uncredible, or I don't know, to make her look bad. Not only that, they were also trying to see if he can trick her into saying something that can make her liable, where they can sue her, where Turning Point USA can sue for defamation and all these things, and defamation against Erica Kirk's character and all of that. That's why he was hired. That was part of the deal, right? Reaper says, I never liked Andrew Wilson, but he just clowned himself again. He says, dude couldn't open a pickle jar, but wants to be the face of masculinity. The $300K payment for, he said, he went on Joe Rogan's, I think, platform, allegedly, and he says, I'm willing to pay $300K to debate Candace Owens. What kind of nigga does that? Something like what kind of man does something like that? Who does that? That's not that's men don't do that. People don't do that. I'm gonna pay just $300K just to talk to her, and then it's the one person that's the biggest threat to Turning Point USA and one of the biggest threats in the conservative party. Right? I just want to pay $300K to debate Candace Owens of all people. And then I just so ironically, I just happen to already, all of a sudden I'm working with Turning Point USA around the same time. I'm doing all these things behind scenes, helping people with debate courses. Anybody that's connected with Turning Point USA with debating help and all, like, this is all too coincidental in my eyes. Way too coincidental. Yeah, he says she sniffed that TPUSA connection quickly. Yeah, it's obvious. So, but anyway, I don't know. Maybe and maybe another thing. Andrew Wilson, I think he underestimated how smart Candace Owens is, because Candace Owens is smart. This is not that, like, Candace Owens isn't the average chick. When it comes to how she thinks. Now, how she acts, that's a different story. But the way she can present herself in terms of her, when she's talking about politics, her IQ is definitely up there.
And I do want to say this. What's been the most disturbing element, I think, for everyone is that not only does the narrative not make any sense, which I'm going to demonstrate. I need to waste time with the preamble going through the points or trying to insult you or pretending that I've been running a podcast saying it's just dreams and vibes, like I'm Miss Cleo. And that's the reason why it's taking so many influencers. It looks like $1 billion industry of influencers to dispute everything Candace says. It's not because I'm on my platform saying I had a dream last night. I don't think I think that diminishes you as an argument. Obviously, we have presented a lot of evidence. You just presented a text message and said this is evidence. Well, that's how this entire thing began. You're talking about how Israel got into the conversation. It was because immediately after Charlie died, one of the first things we saw was this push to make us all think and remember how much he loved Israel. It's because the prime minister of Israel, who's fighting like a 27-front war, felt that he needed to come do a little mini tour and to be, strangely, to state that I did not kill Charlie Kirk, but nobody was having that thought that I can remember. Nobody was going, I wonder if Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. And then we had a round of influencers who lied and said Charlie was not changing on Israel, that he wasn't having any disagreements regarding that topic, that the day he died, he just loved Israel so much. And I demonstrated via a text message, which you just mentioned, and you're now contextualizing and pretending it was just about Tucker Carlson, which is not true. It was a part of a broader shift that Charlie was having over the last, I would say, actually, on your show, it began since October 7th, which is when I began asking myself more questions about Israel as well. And so, yeah, when all of these things happen in the immediate aftermath, and then I drop a text message after everyone is denying that, Tucker Carlson then comes out and confirms the conversations that he had with Charlie. Megyn Kelly then comes out and confirms the private conversations that she had with Charlie. People then begin to ask a reasonable question, which is, why are we lying about this? If they were forthcoming with that and they had said, hey, yeah, Charlie was starting to ask questions. I think after October 7th, it's reasonable that people are starting to re-examine our relationship with Israel. We wouldn't be here today.
Shout out to Ye. Shout out to Candace Owens for taking the bullets on there's one country, there's one group of people you're not allowed to talk about. And Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, that was not, he was going off script, right? That was not his job, is to highlight, look, this might be, I don't think we're doing things the right way by doing everything pro small hat. And you saw it in the last 2 months of his life. That was not part of the script. And when you criticize that demographic, strange things start happening. So unfortunately, he learned the hard way. That's why I think on the day of Charlie Kirk's deletion, I said he was the perfect sacrifice, because the people in charge, they understood that the liberals were going to do liberal things and take credit and celebrate his death. The conservatives were going to be distracted by that. Meanwhile, the real perpetrators behind this were going to be able to walk scot-free. But thankfully, there was enough conservatives with eyes and a brain to see that that was the play. And whoever this Tyler Robinson character that they're just trying to, they just push out there. Oh yeah, it's always the same thing. They find some random white male with some sort of mental issues. Oh, also he's dating a transformer. Is right part of the pattern. Don't you see the pattern, bro? He didn't kill this thing. Stop throwing piss in our face and saying it's raining, right? It's and on top of that, the government, the country in and of itself, I'm just so used to seeing so many false flags in this country. This fits the bill. And unfortunately, I'm not going to say unfortunately. I guess I could say unfortunately. Unfortunately to the Conservative Party or to Orange Man, Charlie Kirk had a lot of influence. So you can't have somebody of that kind of influence questioning small hats. You can't have that. No matter how dumb you think CK is, no matter how right you think he is or how wrong you think he was, once you start criticizing that group, it's not going to be good for you.
But it has been lie after lie after lie, debunk after debunk after debunk. Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they are telling, the extraordinary people that they're sending out to say that I hadn't speak to Charlie since 2018, and it begins to look like a conspiracy. And just as a historical fact, that entire term was created by the CIA to gaslight people after the assassination of JFK. So it's not exactly one that makes me nervous. Like calling somebody a conspiracy theorist is essentially saying that they demand further answers. They're not accepting the Fed slop. So I'm grateful that you came today. I don't need to, like I said, take cheap shots and discuss your manner of debate or your strategy. And I'm also grateful that you shared that you had that text message today, because everybody watching knows that I have been demanding not a debate, just an open conversation with Turning Point USA. They should be here. It shouldn't be you in that chair. It should be the person that took Charlie's place, maybe Erica Kirk, maybe Andrew Colbert. He's a spokesperson. And rather than doing that, they send us another influencer. So damn,
Candace Owens calling Andrew Wilson a plant right in his face. That's crazy work. Reaperell says, I don't think people like Charlie Kirk realize how dumb or much of a pawn the higher ups see people like him. So when he gets into bed with them but tries to go back, he doesn't see it until it's too late. Fair. That's a fair opinion. Charlie Kirk, maybe it was harsh at the time, because I also said at the time I did say that Charlie Kirk was a useful idiot for the conservative right. I think that was a bit harsh on my end. I think that was a bit harsh. Because I think I'll say this in my mind, I think Charlie Kirk thought he was doing the right thing. In his mind, whatever stances he was going for, whatever stances that he was standing on, I think in his mind he thought, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing this. And then even when it came to just questioning, because he was still pro small hat in general, he just had a couple of questions, but you don't at that time you can't do that. Especially with the potential Iran with the war in Iran brewing. That was just small hats have deleted people for less, or people involved with politicians that are in bed with those people have deleted people for far less. So they just determined that Charlie Kirk was like, we gotta delete him. But he didn't think that could happen to him. You know what I mean? Bit unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Let's see how it goes.
Just out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only, that
same here. It's almost 0% on me. Unless if you want to say, if people want to talk about, MK Ultra and, the mind control stuff that they be having on certain experiments that they've done on, certain people. And if you want to go that route, then I could, maybe I'll give you a pass, but I'm at 0%. This punk that they try to parade in front of us, and it was this guy right here. He did it. This left, or they couldn't even find out if he was leftist or Republican at first. They didn't. That was, yeah. That's what you call a scapegoat right there. In a real in life, scapegoat. I don't believe Tyler Robinson shot him either. Reaper Rel says influential doesn't mean powerful or guarded or powerful. Charlie thought he had power. Facts. I agree. He says to not have information on the history of the small hats he was dealing with was beyond foolish. I think he started, like by the end, I think he realized how much power they had. Maybe he thought it was just all conspiracy. Maybe he just thought he would probably hear like a couple of white. He would probably hear a couple of white supremacists here and there talk about the small hats, and he'll just dismiss it because they, a lot of the small hats and American white people, they share the same skin tone. So he probably didn't even think much of it. But anybody that's been paying attention, people should be able to make the connection. I've seen Minister Farrakhan. He's talked about this for the longest, and Malcolm X, he used to get in trouble for that. At one point, people don't know, at one point in the 60s or the 70s, they had Malcolm X. Sorry, in the 60s, they had Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali as they had like a ranking of the top 5 or top 10 anti-Semites, if I want to say I'll say it, the anti-Semites. They had the top 10 anti-Semites. They were always in the top 5. When they would make an anti-Semitic poll of the most anti-Semitic people, they had a lot of people from the NOI in the in that ranking. So it's really telling. It's really telling. that group. It's that group. It's something. Reaper Wells also says, but Candace Owens must have backing from someone else too. She should have been out of here a while ago. Remember the tweets that went out basically saying she passed away? I don't trust her. Oh, I remember that. I remember it was like one of these conservatives. They had a tweet. She had a tweet. She accidentally tweeted something about Candace Owens passing away. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm like, Candace, you gotta stay home. You can't go outside. That was crazy work. I remember seeing that tweet. I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't save that tweet though, but that was crazy. But they can't, the reason why Candace Owens, they can't kill her. Because it'll be way too obvious. I've said this before on this channel. I've said this many times actually in the past, like in the when Candace Owens was really talking about this stuff. If they delete her, it'll be too obvious. They can't do that. At this point, all they can do is just act like she's crazy. So similar to Kanye West, all they can do at this point now, all they can say is he's crazy. If they kill Ye, or if they delete one of Ye's kids or one of these things, it'll be way too obvious. People are not going to trust small hats at all. Even like regular hardworking people that are small hats. That would be a really bad look for that community. That's why they can't delete Ye. That's why they can't delete Candace Owens. So the conservative party, they're really in a pickle. I've made this joke before as well, where they're the conservative party, or specifically Turning Point USA, their problem, they have to basically hope that Candace Owens stops talking about this and moves on. So just listen to what I'm saying, what I just said. They're hoping that a black woman, a black woman that's already an outspoken black woman, to shut up. Good luck with that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That's not gonna happen. So that's all they're hinging their hopes on. They can't delete her. It'll be too obvious. It's gonna be small hats getting jumped in the street if they delete Ye or Candace, because they've allowed them to say everything else. That's the problem. They've allowed Candace Owens to say what she said about black people or liberals and all these other people, but now you want to silence her now after she says this about this. Same with Ye. He says what he says about black people. He said what he said about what George Bush doesn't care about black. He said Kanye West has said everything under the sun. But then when he says that, all of a sudden, banks are telling him, we don't want your money. What the fuck? Imagine you say this group controls everything. They do everything and blah, blah, blah. And then that group goes out their way to show you that they do control everything. That was a mistake on their end. So that's why they can't get deleted. Exactly. That's what they got. Kanye got. That's how he got drugged up. They try to put him on these head medications and try to make him seem like he's crazy. So these guys can't get deleted yet. Not yet. If they delete them now, it'll small. You see how like during the World Cup, like nobody thinks like Argentina took a really bad PR hit in the World Cup. It'll be that level where people will start being open and honest about what they feel about the small hats. You know what I mean? So that would be a very bad look.
Maybe somebody was behind him as a patsy influencing him. You're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk.
Right. If you said, was he involved that day, as I have consistently said on my platform, I would say yes, he was. I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
Do you have any evidence for it?
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all of the evidence that he feels that he has. I mean, I'm not even convinced that Charlie was shot from the rooftop on Losi that day, based on the evidence that has been.
Do you think he was shot?
I do not think that Charlie was shot from a 30-06 from Losi.
But just shot at all.
I don't know. I think that a projectile hit Charlie, and I'm open to other people's presentations, but I have not seen any compelling evidence that Charlie was shot by a 30-06.
Can we see, maybe if we're going to have an olive branch to each other, if maybe we can establish what we consider the facts of the case to be first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're not sure if he was actually shot. You're open to alternative theories.
He was definitely hit with a projectile of some description. If we're talking about was he shot from a gun, a 30-06, I would say definitively no.
Okay.
It defies common sense to think that he had a Superman neck. And even if he did have a Superman neck, which has been demonstrated, I think actually recently a YouTuber actually set up Valhalla steel cages and shot it and it went through. So under no circumstance will I.
So at least not a 30-06.
Definitively not. A 30-06 from low sea, 150 feet. No.
But you're not necessarily closing off the avenue that he could have been shot at all?
With maybe a smaller
caliber? Okay. And then there's some things that I'm going to make concessions on that I do think we need more answers on, and I'm fine with that. And we can get to those things as well. The other thing is in the timeline, one of the things that we dispute, I think, on the timeline is that you think that Robinson.
This is true. Reaperell said it. And Kanye is getting no attention now, despite selling out shows that have 118,000 people at the Istanbul Stadium at one show. I never say, there's a Family Guy clip where it's a dude try to holler at a girl. That's one of my favorite Family Guy clips of all time. He was trying to holler at this girl, even though she was a small hat. He says, "My friend here is saying that he still wants to be with you, even though your people control a large part of the media." God, again with this shit, man. That's one of my favorite Family Guy clips of all time. He's like, "Man, again with this stuff." Oh man. It's that's one of the funniest Family Guy clips of all time. Oh yeah, facts. XVYJZ says small hats moving like the Dai Li from Bossing Say. That's an Avatar reference. And people should know that. Well, people should know that reference. I hope everybody in this chat, you got to watch Avatar. That might be the greatest animated show of all time. It might be. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. Man, Avatar taught me everything about life, relationships, honor, respect, politics. Even in Korra, they showed you how politics work. Like in the Legend of Korra, it's brilliant. Two shows that really show you how politics work. The Avatar, Avatar. I'm blanking on the Netflix show, but then The Boys off of the Prime, off of Amazon Prime. Definitely. The Boys. They show you how politics work. It's yeah. So yeah, they say XVYJZ says they said the president is just a figurehead. They outright tell you in Avatar, yes, the guy's the king, but he's just there. He's a figurehead. He's not running nothing. Is it specifically with the Earth Kingdom? The people that run the Earth Kingdom are like the lieutenants or whoever's running the war department, whoever's whoever's the president of the CIA of that Earth Kingdom. That's who ends up running stuff. So it tells you outright how this stuff works. But people will watch these shows and they will still be like, I'm voting for such and such, and he or she is gonna do this for such and such. First of all, the Epstein files should have already told you that everybody that you see in these positions, they're compromised. That's why they got those positions. This is why you'll have, even you go to university and to join a fraternity or to join one of these sororities, you have to get basically SA'd or hazed to enter into that group. And if you don't get hazed or SA'd, you can't enter that group because you're not compromised. The politicians or the rare people that can get into these seats, the ones that end up getting deleted are the ones that aren't compromised. They don't have pictures of them with beaches and kids and all these stuff. Or the ones that are not compromised, they end up having to retire from politics early. the politic game that's just, but anyways, B. Watkins says the issue is that Kirk was another honorable Republican fool. Exactly. That's a better way to put it. He says conservatives always get outplayed by everyone. Only Uncle AH could outplay the tribe of today because they are less cunning. AH. He says only Uncle AH. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I was like, who's Uncle AH? Oh, never mind. He says the men who rule our nation don't show themselves. Our government is just for show. Kirk was never going to actually be a powerful figure because he was too naive and had a nice early life. Yes, I definitely agree with those statements right there.
Drove hours away to a steakhouse in the timeline. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the compelling evidence that you think you have there?
I spoke to the owner of the restaurant, and I have seen the receipts. I know the conversation that I had, and I think it's enough that it will be presented. Obviously, if this goes to trial, but yes, I do believe that he was in Penguich, which is near his grandparents' home.
Did he give you an unedited copy of that receipt?
I have seen an unedited copy of that receipt. It was not given to me from the owner. But I want to, before we get into like all the timeline stuff, I want to address what you think is evidence so we can keep this on par with what your claim is.
Well, I think that that's a piece of evidence that's in dispute. And that's why I'm...
Yeah, but we're trying to get to whether there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this.
Yeah,
so whether then starting
if you want to use the first part of that for the internal critique.
Yeah, we should go over the actual evidence that we feel...
The first reason that I think it's compelling evidence is that Tyler Robinson's rifle was found near the crime scene. So I would consider that to be very good evidence. And also the fact of the matter is
he serious? Nah, man, TPUSA. I don't think they just gave him a loan. Hey, Andrew Wilson, blink twice. Do they have your family at gunpoint? There's no way he's arguing this. But
I dispute this claim that a 30-06 could not have made this wound. I think that that's absurd. 150 grain Remington core locks absolutely could shatter when it hits the neck of any human being. When you say that there's some steel neck and it's a smaller caliber, you have to make a counter explanation. Why wouldn't a smaller caliber also go through bone?
It could. I didn't say it can't.
Right, exactly. So if that's the case, then ammunition is going to be the critical key here. And if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip round, well, I'm sorry, not a flex tip, a soft point round from 150 grain Remington core lock, that's just a small jacket that goes around the actual lead piece. This thing could have split apart in air for all we know, but definitely upon impact. And we have the medical examiner who confirms this in a summary. My team can bring that up, the summarization, which means he would have to be a part of some kind of conspiracy as well.
Okay. So just to start with your point about saying that the gun was found near him, near Losey Center, or I guess off in the woods. That gun, did you watch the testimony? Did you watch the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, we covered it live. Yeah.
Okay, so forgetting what the summary of the medical report was, did you watch the testimony that was given by the Caitlin Oliver, the ATF woman, Samantha Carner, any of those people who went into the science of...
Yes, I recall. You're talking about...
The bullet analysis.
Yeah, when they went into the DNA.
Okay, so that's kind of the most relevant part.
Okay.
I'm not denying, I've never denied on my platform or anywhere else that a gun owned by Tyler Robinson was found near the crime scene, right? That doesn't remove it. If you think...
For all of those things, it was way too convenient. Way too convenient. B. Watkins says, as 50 said, that bad boy rapper, he ain't worth $5 million, even with $5 million in his pockets. Same with TV Wilson. He isn't he isn't worth $300K even with it in his pockets. Yeah, that's nah. That ain't his dad. That's not his money. He said Wilson probably has to pay literally tons of money to Chad and Tyrone and THAD from making a big fuss about Rachel's kids. Exactly. I said that in the beginning of the stream. I'm like, with that drama that his wife has, and you got to take care of 5 kids, 3 of them are not yours, and you got to pay off those dudes. You got to make sure you're paying off lawyers and all these other people to keep the other baby fathers quiet. Not putting your wife on blast because it's going to be bad for your brand. It's going to be bad for you and your wife's brand. He does not have no $300K. No. Yep. College expenses, school, insurance. People don't know. Private schools for all the kids. Private instructors, soccer, baseball, lacrosse, figure skating, horseback riding. That's another thing too. I hope because because there's a lot of black men. They're coming into the dating scene, and they're with white women, and white women are giving black men a pass for now. But what they don't know is all that stuff that I mentioned. That's standard. That's you're gonna need to do all of that. That's not oh, I think that our kids should do this. No, the kids you will be paying for all those things for the kids. Yes. Yes. All of that. All of that. Not just one sport either. And sorry, not just sports. I'm talking about music. You're gonna have to pay for that. For all five of those kids. It's trust me, I have experience. Like I remember, because my parents, they literally paid for all of that. And then for all it's me and two other siblings. So the money that goes into all of that is crazy. It's crazy money. It's crazy work. So and on top of that, our parents were very frugal with their spending. So and very humble with their spending. So I already imagine, especially the kids that I was playing soccer with, how much money that their parents was paying. The kids I went to school with, it's a lot of money. So Andrew Wilson, he's not that rich. He's not that rich. So that most people don't have $300K liquid. Do you know how much money you got to make to have that? Like, come on now. B. Watson says it's kind of a messed up. Tom Holland in Brand New Day has more chemistry with Sadie Sink than Zendaya. Like, Zendaya needs to up her game. Oh, by the way, yeah, I haven't because I haven't kept up with the Marvel. I need to keep up with the Marvel, even though it's gone a different direction. But you need to keep up so you can get all the references, so you can get all the so you know what people are talking about, right? So you can keep up. He also says Andrew Wilson could be given $1 million, and with his expenses, he would be in a deficit by the end of the year. People don't know. He said, "Did you see the Doomsday trailer?" No. What I got to do, I got to download Disney Plus again, and I left off. The reason why I stopped watching the Marvel series was because of that damn witch series. Whoever the witch was. not the Scarlet Witch, the other witch. Agatha. That's the series that I left off at. So I'm so behind because that's the one series I was like, I can't watch this. This is terrible. Oh man. Yeah, most of the MCU is filler. I agree. I definitely agree. But I gotta go back to that Agatha series and then just force my way to watch it. Just go through the pain of watching that and then moving on. If I was able, I don't know how I was able to get through She-Hulk, but I can't get through Agatha for some weird reason. I can't get through the Agatha series. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Them trying to make the C-list characters work. Like, I didn't mind the Moon Knight series, Moon Knight. Because I thought he should have had his series for a minute, but he is an interesting character in the comics. But so I was able to get through that one, but the Agatha series, it's just filler. You said you like Daredevil. Daredevil's good. I liked Luke Cage. Jessica Jones, it's but I liked here's the thing I like about Jessica Jones. They show you the things that I talk about, where you'll have these athletes, they'll get into certain disputes, But then if you have the right PR team, they can cover all of this stuff up. So they do tap into that. I was surprised that they went into that. So Jessica Jones, I didn't mind that. I don't mind Jessica Jones. Because I was glad that they added that part of the game. I was like, oh, I don't think people really know about this. You have to really experience that, where you have one of these athletes, they get in one of their little drunken fender benders, and then they come out the car, or they come out the bar after trashing the bar, but everybody's phones gets confiscated. Nobody's allowed to post about the situation, depending on who the celebrity or the athlete is. Some people are plugged enough where they can pull it. Certain athletes I've said on this channel are off the chain. they're off the chain. But if you say who they are, you might have some people come and send you a warning on YouTube.
Somebody set up as a patsy. You could take a gun out of this room right now, and you could walk out and plant it in the woods near a crime scene. That's not convincing evidence.
I concur with the fact that that's a possibility.
So you I think have said on a platform that you were a gunsmith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and for how many years?
Many years.
For many years.
Mm-hmm.
You also said that you were an Army sniper.
I wasn't a sniper in the Army.
Okay,
and I never said that.
Sorry, your wife tweeted that you were an Army sniper.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 15 years ago, she said something.
Does it change 15 years later?
She said that it was colloquial. So
Army sniper is a colloquial term.
Yeah, I was never an Army sniper.
Okay. What did you do in the Army? Did you teach? She then corrected and said you taught rifles in the Army.
No, I didn't teach rifle. No, I taught rifles as private citizens.
She called her cat. She called him capping about his past. But anyways.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would have sworn there was clips of him saying that he had a little bit more experience with those guns. But you know, I digress. A liar doesn't. They don't know how to keep up with their lies. So that's, you know.
And I was an NRA instructor for many years alongside my gun shop.
As with your expertise, when she gave testimony on the stand, Samantha Carner, that there was dust and there was debris that was found in the gun barrel.
Yep.
And then when we had the person who, and this was, I believe, Caitlin Oliver, who explained painfully about the DNA, the prints.
Well, let's start with a point.
No, I'm not done. You said something, so I'm going to finish my thought, right?
You don't want to do a point in time?
No, well, sure. If you want to respond to it, but I want you to respond to 2 points. I want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5 plus actually by the end of the testimony, 5 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI forensics testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample, it's no longer a science, right? She testified that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5 plus prints. And among those 5 plus prints, Tyler Robinson's was the most degraded. So I would like you to explain how Tyler Robinson's prints could be the most degraded when she said, actually, you could have DNA on something that you've touched. You could have DNA on something that you've never touched. And to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces, items 20, 40 years on that don't have degradation. Yet Tyler Robinson's prints amongst 5 plus other prints were the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah.
I caught that too. He says, yes, I was an Army sergeant. I mean, colloquially though, because, you know, it's no. Oh man, yeah. I be catching on these, you know, these little lies. And plus, on top of that, it doesn't help that his wife has tweets that people will bring up about her bragging about what Andrew Wilson may or may not do in his free time. Colloquially, I used to not be racist. Oh man.
So let's get into all 3 of the claims. First, with debris. When it comes to debris, firing a rifle doesn't always blow the debris out of the barrel.
Okay. You think there could be debris and dust. Yeah. He just fired the weapon.
Sure.
Okay.
Not only that, he left it in a forest. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you leave a rifle in a wooded area, it's also possible that debris could get in that way. But I'm not even sure that that's what the case is. I think it's far more likely that you fired the shot, it just didn't blow all the debris out, and it often doesn't. You'll find this if you take Grandpappy's dirty rifle and it's all dusty inside the bore and you go fire it, you'll often look down the bore and there's still dust.
Okay.
Happens all the time.
Okay. And the prints?
Yeah, so the prints, we don't know all of the details on just yet.
We do. It was excruciatingly long testimony on the prints.
We don't, because they haven't gone to trial, so we don't know on the print front, but Tyler Robinson's DNA was on there. You made the claim that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on there, and it was not.
Well, when she gave the testimony, no, first let's go to your first point because that's wrong. We can get a fact check on that. What do you mean we don't know until it goes to trial about the degraded prints? She testified, and this is the person who took the prints.
Yes, but the problem is that inside of this particular testimony, you agree with me that there's going to be much more of the DNA analysis in the trial, right?
But you also would agree that her fact is not going to change, that among the prints, his was the most degraded. So I'm asking you to address that. How could that be possible?
Let's give it, let's just grant this for a second as a possibility that his fingerprints were degraded.
It's not a possibility. It's a fact. The person who took it.
I'm just granting it for the sake of argument.
You should grant it because it's a fact that she presented.
So now it's granted. So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Yeah, so what? What does that prove?
It proves that if his prints were the most degraded amongst 5 of them, you're going to have to explain how that's possible if he's the one that recently fired the weapon.
Yeah, so wait a second. You're saying that it's an impossibility that if his fingerprints are the most degraded.
I'm telling
you. Andrew, I'm gonna keep it a buck. CJ was right about Andrew Wilson. He is slow, or he acts slow on purpose to try to make you look stupid and make you repeat yourself. Reaper Rel says, "Who could?" he said he could just say, "I'm a sniper," and tie it to just some training. And you did. You wouldn't say army or military. I don't. What did Cat Williams say about liars? He had a really great quote about liars when he was on the Shannon Sharp podcast, but I can't remember that off the top of my head. B. Waska says Andrew Wilson is like the commander of a city who has never fought and cries when a strong Germanic king is about to siege a city. Andrew reframing tactic again, yeah, but it's a bit annoying to be honest with you. But oh, by the way, sorry, I gotta inflect my voice a little bit more. I can't just. Apparently DDG has my disease. I had no idea his voice was really that deep. So I saw that video the other day of him really talking with his real voice. So I was like, you know what? Do I sound like that? to other people, I was like, you know what? Let me really work on just soft, not only, softening my voice in the public, but just, inflecting my voice, just put a little bit of pitch in my voice as much as possible. Definitely.
You explain it. You're the gunsmith.
Well, wait a second. How would a gunsmith give an analysis on fingerprints or DNA? Do you think that I work in a DNA laboratory?
So
with
your answer is I don't know. You can just say you don't know. But you don't have to.
But I did.
No, you said so what? So say I don't.
Exactly. And I got to stop muttering as well. I got to stop doing that.
No, I actually don't have an explanation for that, Candace. Well, I think that what it would prove is that it is a more viable theory that people who had stronger prints on the gun may have used it more recently.
Did they say who else had fingerprints on the gun?
They named Matt Robinson explicitly. Okay. And this was a part of the testimony where she was speaking about how they got samples of elimination samples from the home of Amber Robinson, Matt Robinson, and Lance Twiggs. Those were the 3 names they named.
So are you saying that Twiggs?
Would you like me to finish my statement?
I just want to make sure I'm clarifying.
I'm trying to finish the answer, but it can't be clarified until the answer comes out of my mouth.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Hold on, I see something else. Oh no, because I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Was a portion of her testimony where she was explaining how they got elimination samples from the home, and she named Matt Robinson, Amber Robinson, and Lance Twiggs as the elimination samples that she was using. And so she explicitly said, some of them, so we can assume 2 out of the 3 were their prints were found on the gun. She explicitly named Matt Robinson as someone who had prints on the gun, and then said there were 5 people that they had taken that sample from. And again, what's also relevant here is the earlier testimony, which came from the FBI forensics analyst, I believe it was on day 2, where she said that when you're using those mixtures and those samples and you get up to 5+, it's really hard to make any sort of a determination. So both of those things are relevant. If you can't explain why his prints are the most degraded and you're saying he is the shooter, it's not really a so what. It's an open-ended question that people have a right to pursue. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually proof of my claim that there's evidence that he was set up as a patsy.
That wouldn't prove anything about him being a patsy.
It said it's evidence to support the claim that he could have been set up as a patsy.
So this is why I said earlier, so what? Because even if it's the case, this doesn't have an explanation for it yet. It doesn't actually give you any evidence in your corner for.
By the way, I don't know if you can see it, and people are making fun of Wilson, particularly the liberals. They were making fun of Wilson on Twitter. You can see him already sweating a lot. So somebody had me laugh. They made the Friday reference. They said Andrew Wilson is sweating like a slave in Debo's chicken coop. Yeah, just sweating. wagging his foot the whole time. That's when you're nervous, you do stuff like that, right? So he was looking a bit perturbed, a little bit uncomfortable throughout the interview. But you can see him. He's already sweating. People also were saying that's also withdrawals because he had no smokes. He couldn't smoke. He couldn't drink. I'll say this: if I was supposed to debate Andrew Wilson, I would have done the same thing. I'd have been like, I would have said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do it at this neutral venue. Oh yeah, no smoking, no drinking allowed." I would have done that because clearly Andrew Wilson, he has a substance abuse problem. I can confidently say this. I can confidently say this. B. Waskin says Andrew Wilson is that kid who played games on the easiest difficulty, thought he was good, and when he joined multiplayer and got crushed, he couldn't cope and calls everyone a cheater. And he ended up, there's a very viral clip that I know you guys must have, I'm pretty sure you guys all saw the viral clip at the end where Candace Owens calls out Andrew Wilson for not knowing one of the charges that they're giving Tyler Robinson. He got called out. He didn't know any of the charges. Yet you're here to debate her and say that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler is guilty of what he's guilty of, yet you know none of the charges. And then he tries to put her on the spot and say, "Oh, well, do you name all 7 of the charges that you know?" And and while she's trying to name all 7 of the charges, he was just trying to interrupt her the whole time to make her not finish her explanations of all of the charges. She still was able to finish that explanation, but people have seen that clip. That clip has gone viral. He's a hack. He got caught out, and then at the end of that exchange, he tried to call her a cheater. He's like, by any chance, I saw you had your phone out. Did somebody give you the answer on your phone? I was like, this is a whole ass nigga, man. This is just a whole ass nigga. That's what he is. I know dudes like that, bro. You'll prove them wrong in front of everybody, and then they'll call you a cheater after they call you out. Candace Owens pulled out her phone mad quick. She was like, "Look, here, I'm gonna give it to the moderator. I'm gonna give it to the moderator. You can check my phone." What the fuck? Nah, maybe you would have done some shit like that, Andrew. Not her. You need assistance. She doesn't need assistance. She's way smarter than you. Greetings to K-Plan 1142. Salutations. Do I have a salutation soundbite? I don't even think I have one. That's definitely something that I realized. There's a lot. There's definitely a lot to be desired from my, but you know, it is what it is. Because there's a lot of negative stuff. It's a lot of not sneak this. It's a lot of like funny negative stuff on my sound bites. But salutations and greetings to you. Warband member. But shout out to you guys.
Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
Okay,
hang on. I didn't cut you off. Right? You would need to actually explain how this would demonstrate Tyler Robinson. This is tied into Robinson being a patsy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you claiming that these fingerprints were Lance Twiggs or that he had any DNA there?
I'm saying that it could be Matt Robinson. It could be Amber Robinson. That sort of information is going to come out during the trial.
How would that tie into the idea that he's a patsy?
Yes, because if his is the most degraded prints and the information that I shared on my platform is true, that this gun was given to Tyler Robinson as an heirloom. I had conversation with members of the Robinson family, Twiggs family, both of them. You know, like I said, we're not just dreaming. And if we're having those conversations and they told me that gun was only given to Tyler Robinson because it was a family heirloom. Okay, so it was his grandfather's gun or great-grandfather's gun. I don't remember the difference. I don't remember which one it was. And so he got it because he's the firstborn. So, but he's not much of a shooter, is what I was told. And so he has this because he inherited it, essentially. So if I get something from my grandpa and I put it up on the shelf and I own this, you could see that could be.
How do we get to the patsy part?
you don't let me ever get to the end of the sentence. So how could we get to the Patsy part?
Okay, I'll wait patiently till we get to
So
the
that could
Patsy
be a
part.
reasonable explanation as to why there was dust in the barrel, because he doesn't often shoot this weapon and he is indeed a fisher. And it could also be a reasonable explanation for why we have Matt Robinson's prints on this. Obviously, Lance Twiggs, even if he has prints on things, they live together, that doesn't really mean anything. But that could demonstrate that somebody took his weapon and put it somewhere. His prints are the most degraded. Somebody else's prints, there's more presence of somebody else's prints. And that could demonstrate that somebody is taking items from his house and putting it into
But
various
also could
places.
demonstrate nothing. So
Oh Lord. But I'll say this: I'm happy to definitely see you guys in there. Instead of the Andrew Wilson bots. Well, I'll say this: the Andrew Wilson bots, they've been silent. They've been silent because they knew this was a bad look. They have been silent in terms of on Twitter. I couldn't see too much of them. Now, obviously, on the Steve Crowder show, they're I don't see them invading people's comment section like they usually do. Because they have no leg to stand on. So they're on obviously on the platforms that are obviously going to be on Andrew Wilson's side, like Crowder and company. I saw what's that dude's Sir Michael Sertan. I hope I'm saying his name right. Michael Sertan. He was making so much excuses for that boy. Andrew Wilson actually came for a debate, and Candace Owens didn't come for a debate. Yeah, that makes it worse. You lost a debate to somebody that was even really trying to debate you. He says the withdrawals in Wilson's face is cracking me up. He is weak. He's a druggie. This dude has a substance abuse problem, bro. Like I'll see people bring up, man, he's so cool because he'll say this and then he'll bring up his smokes. I'm like, this dude, he's a mess. Y'all don't see this? This dude is a mess. Oh my God, he's so cool. He said that he does his debates while he's hungover. What are we doing, man? What the Oh my goodness, man. Yeah, he has a substance abuse problem. It's not even, with the withdrawal is kicking his ass. And a little bit of that is an excuse that we are also giving him. But that's what he is. He's weak without, like, when he if you can't do a debate without, or if you can't quote unquote destroy somebody without putting your substance down, without putting that vape pen down, without putting your whatever down, bruh. How many times you've heard me? I'll complain about the musicians that I'll work with from time to time, and these people cannot put the vape pen down. They can't concentrate for 30 minutes. 30 minutes without, they gotta drink something. They gotta smoke something. They gotta do. I'm like, y'all can't concentrate for 30 minutes to get this thing done. They need a smoke break every 30. I'm like, bro, bro, come on now. And then people can't fathom why I don't want to show up to these things anymore. Like, what the fuck? If we do this shit right, I'm sorry to go off on the music end, but if we do this shit right, we could do 3-4 songs if we wanted to. But motherfuckers cannot put that vape pen down. They can't put that. They can't put the drink down. Come on, man. We gotta focus. We gotta concentrate, man.
But the problem that you have here is that this is pure conjecture.
No,
This is not evidence that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. It's only evidence that you have conjectured up that, well, if it's the case that these are the more degraded prints, then therefore that means must be patsy because dad's fingerprints on gun.
I didn't say must be
Describe
patsy.
how this actually links in to Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that. But
Oh, shout out to Candace Owens from moving on, because he's just stalling. That's stalling, and then he's just gonna try to find any little your explanation of your explanation. He's gonna find something wrong with that, and then drag the shit out. There's no need to drag the shit out. If you don't understand it, we'll just move on. because she explained in depth. That's if you can't see that point of view, you're either being what's the term? You being intentionally dense, or you're just stupid. So we're just gonna move on. What did Candace Owens say? She says, I can only explain it for you. I can't understand it for you. I like that quote.
For dad's fingerprints on gun?
I didn't say
describe how this actually links in to Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that. But to just go back to your point about this is not evidence, you can't make that claim because the entire basis for why you think that there's evidence for Tyler Robinson being the person that took the shot is based off of a hearing under Utah 1102 rules, meaning that they are doing the exact same thing that I am doing. This is the state. You said you're here to represent the state. Well, did you watch the preliminary
I
hearing?
didn't say I was here to represent the state.
The state's position you think is strong and convincing.
What I'm here to do is represent my own opinion,
You
which
said
is
in
that
your opening statement,
based on the evidence presented so far by the state.
the state has
that I find it
presented
convincing.
evidence under Utah's 1102 rule.
But this doesn't demonstrate any patsy
No, that's very
behavior.
important because that rule is hearsay. So you can't say at the same time,
Great.
Candace, you're not allowed to. And what that means under the Utah rule, which I'm sure you know, because I'm sure you watched the preliminary hearing and yourself understand what that means, is that the entire hearing was hearsay. It means none of that information that was presented is going to be allowed. The majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it is not going to be allowed at the trial. They're allowed to present when it's just a probative
I
hearing.
don't think all the evidence that was put in was hearsay.
Okay, you didn't watch this case.
But not only that,
no, this is a huge point. This is crazy
we
that you
can call
don't know
for a
this.
fact check. If
Yes,
all the
we
evidence
need more
was
than a
put
fact
in,
check. This was every single day.
The
Utah
actually
rule
saying they want to
1102.
go there. So they said there's a medical examiner's explanation of the shooting that's in the back. Rob, if you want to pull it up, and then Candace, if anybody,
Nigga, that's not what she asked. That's not what she asked for. Bring up the Utah 1102. We want to bring up the medical examiners on the shooting, just so they could show. Oh well, he was clearly shot. That's not what she asked for, bro. Come on. Oh, by the way, I did pause it to say this, Reaper. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever watched the Zoe Williams show where they would have the panel of females around, and then Corey Holcomb would be in that panel? Have you ever watched those videos by any chance? I just wanted to ask. So you can say yes or no in the chat whenever you feel like it.
Somebody from your team wants to pull something up, no problem as well, but they're requesting it. If you guys got it, pull it up so we can show it. And in the interim, is that it?
Yeah. So I'll read this.
Just what are we looking at, just so we know?
Yeah, so this says the bullet, or at least part of it, sequentially perforated the interior left of Mr. Kirk's neck, strap muscles of the left side of the neck. This is a summary, by the way. Left common cartoid on the left internal external jugular.
Low-key, I should skip through that because this was very irrelevant. But the reason why I brought that up to Reaper is because people will talk about this debate style where you'll have these dudes, they'll bring a bunch of OF models on the panel or girls on the panel and try to make them look stupid. And I do think it's a form of low-hanging fruit behavior, but this is not a new thing. That's why when I saw kind of Fresh and Fit kind of blow up off that style, I was like, okay. And people would say things like, well, you know, these are just those type of women. I'm like, well, I've seen that style before. Zoe Williams would have these women that were in their 40s. These women were in their late 30s, 40s, and they sounded worse than the OF models, believe it or not. Believe it or not. Zoe Williams would ask a question about their dating standards or what you're looking for, and they would say things worse than the OF models. Way worse. To the point where I was like, Zoe, where are you getting these hoes from? So I used to say all these things. I'm like, where are you finding these hoes? Like, what kind of hoe? What kind of people are these, right? But it took me then you know, by the end of 2019 it finally hit me. I'm like, oh, it is what it is. You can't really change people like that. It's a waste. It's really a waste of time. And really Zoe was just really using those women as entertainment. So I've already was privy to that style. So this is why when even so much so, yeah, shout out to Corey would say the same thing. Corey He used to go on the show with the host, but he stopped. He stopped. He was just like, these hosts, they don't know what the hell they talk about. He used to be like, Zoe, these hoes that you be bringing on your show. He said they don't be about shit. So I noticed that Corey, he stopped going on the show with those hosts. He would only show up when they would do the Mansions series, and the Mansion series, it would just be men on the panel talking about certain things about manhood, dating, and all these things. So he stopped, and he's a comedian, right? So this is free, this is free exercise. And he was like, I can't go on this show. So it's very telling when I see something like that, or I saw stuff like this. And then it's very telling when you see a guy like Andrew Wilson, where he wants to debate people like this. He wants to do like literal formal debates, like 6-hour debates with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. I could never. And using that platform so you can get your clips to make yourself look better than you are. It really, I got to look at, I'm that's why I've always kind of looked at Andrew Wilson a bit funny. It's just, I can't respect that. You're talking about, traditionalism to like a group of women that have already been destroyed. There's what are you gonna do with that cohort, with that group of women? It's really nothing you can do. Okay, man said, nah, it's just, dude, you should have, one day I got to bring up a real old show of a Zoet show. I think even without Corey Holcomb, and just show you the ridiculousness that these hoes were saying. And these women were not teenagers. They were in their 30s, 40s, some of them in their 50s. Reaperell could back me up. I'm not joking about this. The stuff that they used to say, it used to boggle my. I could not. At the time, I was like, I can't believe this. I was like, I was 20 or 19 years old watching these women on the panel. I used to say the exact same thing that the normies will say about like the Fresh and Fit and the Daily Rap Crew and all these shows. Where are you finding these women, bro? Y'all can't find no woman that know what she talking about. So that style is played out, and seeing that style made me understand, like, oh, you're really not even supposed to entertain nonsense like that. But yeah, but shout out, the Whatever podcast. Anybody that's subscribed to that channel, I have serious questions about what you're doing with your life. The Whatever podcast, like they'll be doing like 9-hour streams, 8-hour streams, 10-hour streams. Like I'm talking about 6-hour streams on the regular, 7-hour streams on the regular. Like what? I'm talking about with real viewer retainership. Like there's dudes watching this stuff. And when I'm seeing this, I was like, okay, no wonder why. I get it. I understand why. When I remember bringing up Fresh and Fit, because I think I brought up Fresh and Fit to Undead, and Undead was like, nah, fuck those guys. Those, because at first I didn't mind them, because I didn't even, when I would watch Fresh and Fit, I never watched the night show. I would only watch the show where it would just be them talking from time to time when I was, driving back and forth to New York. But I used to give the Daily Rap Crew a pass. I used to give all these dudes a pass, but after the year 2023, I stopped giving these people a pass, because I'm like, you can't, after a certain while, you need to graduate past that nonsense. After a certain while, because I don't even watch the clips, from these people anymore. No disrespect to those guys. I'm not knocking their hustle, but it's just I can't respect it no more. I can't respect it. After a certain time, you got to get past that shit. Oh my God, he just dunked on this woman. Owned. Most of the times, the women, they go on there, they're trolling. They know exactly what they're doing. They have an OF account or they got some IG account, and they know if they go on there and they act stupid or they say what they want, because they're just saying what they want. They don't really believe it. They're just saying what they need to say to get popular, and they know their following count is going to go up. It's all about clicks. So I can't feed into that. And even with the Zoe show, Zoe show, Reaper World says Zoe would allow them basically to sell their BS. Then Corey would get fed up, but only really after they would try to take shots at him. Yeah, Corey Holcomb was actually nice, and a lot of the girls actually found him funny. It's only a few certain circumstances, like the chick with the small book, the pamphlet, because I think she was the only female on the panel that day. It was like her and another female, but then it was mostly dudes in that panel. But she was overly combative with Corey, so that's why he had to take a shot at her book, at her small book. He said that is not a book. He said that is a, what did he say? He said that is a week of tweets. He said that's a week of tweets. He said people are going to look at that book, and he said, is that a pamphlet or is that a map of Compton? That was funny. But that's the only time I ever seen Corey really go back and forth with a female on Zoe's panel. Most of the time he'll just be joking, but even after a while he's like, I can't do this shit. He says, Zoe, I can't do this. Eventually you're gonna be like, I can't do this, right? He says, yeah, it's just a knockoff version of Fresh Fit, but it preys on the same men that those women prey on. Yeah, the whatever podcast, I have no respect for that podcast at all. At all. Pyro says, OMG, he just dunked on this woman. Yeah, that's literally what they do. Sharing whatever podcast clips. Did you see what Andrew Wilson did? I'm like, oh, on what? On the whatever podcast. Okay, I don't care. No disrespect.
Veins. The bullet also obliterated the left side C27 vertebrae, transacted the cervical spinal cord. Medical examiner observed a significant portion.
I'm going to speed through this part a little bit. I'm going to put this at 1.5.
Of Kirk's cervical spinal cord was traumatically absent. Mr. Kirk suffered from other severe injuries, including bilateral, apical, and posterior intercostal hemorrhages, pulmonary, apical hemorrhages, multiple disruptions to the thyroid, et cetera, et cetera. So the summary of the examination said he was shot.
Okay.
That was what they were pulling that up for.
Okay, and I'm not disputing that he could have been hit with a projectile. We're not disputing that, so I don't know why this was brought up as a fact check. Could you bring up 1102 Utah rule? Because this is an unbelievable point that you're making by saying that I am not allowed to infer off of evidence.
You can infer. I'm trying to follow the inference.
But your entire reason, like you asserted that you believe there's overwhelming evidence on the basis of what we saw in the preliminary hearing. The entire preliminary hearing was hearsay.
Yeah, I'm fine with your inferences.
But no, you just literally said I couldn't do that. Yes, I can.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying from your inference, how do we get to Patsy?
This is how you got to Shooter. Tyler Robinson did it.
No,
the same way that you
I
got
didn't
to
get
Tyler
to Shooter
Robinson.
from that.
Yes, you did. This is something important, so we should pull up a fact check about what the 1102 Utah, and under their constitution, for the sake of a preliminary hearing, they do not have to have hard evidence. They don't have to put people on the trial, swear them in. But no, that's why the entire hearing was basically hearsay. Officer Backey,
but not all of it, like I said.
The overwhelming majority.
Again, no
outside of the one that you don't want to give. Please don't cut me off. Outside of that is what's in dispute. It means that your entire brand of saying you don't have evidence falls apart when the entire preliminary hearing is based off of hearsay. In fact, Lance's testimony before they had about an hour debate, actually maybe it was more than an hour debate before he sat, and they said this is not going to be allowed. You wouldn't even be allowed to do this. We'd be able to cross-examine him. The questions that they're asking Lance are all leading. And what did he say? Well, I'm the magistrate under Utah Constitution. 1102. It is my job to allow all of this so we can see if the state has enough here that we can then move to a trial, which will then They would not allow this stuff. They would say we get to cross-examine Lance. Lance
But
just
you're
can't
arguing
willy-nilly
things I'm not
say,
disputing.
no, but the entire substance of your argument is that people can't infer off of evidence.
No,
That's what you're saying
it's
to me. When you say, Candace,
Here,
you
I'll
can't
give you
talk
the
about the greater
argument
prince, which is a
now.
fact,
Yeah, I'm not
and then
saying
infer
that.
off of that
Didn't say
that
that.
Tyler could have been a patsy.
You're
I
just
am
made
telling you.
No, you did say that, Andrew. You're gonna have to. What did Dame Dash say? Nigga, are you watching your own show? When he was talking to Charlemagne the God, he said you don't even have headphones on. Oh man, but yeah, that's in most of this. In this debate, Andrew Wilson cuts off Candace Owens a lot. Just a heads up. I don't think I said that in the beginning, but Andrew Wilson cuts her off a lot in this debate.
Making stuff up. So
I'm
here's
not
what the
making stuff
position
up.
is.
I'm
I'm
not
asking
making
this.
stuff up. I'm saying
that
that I think you, let's pull that up. Let's pull that up.
How do you
I'm
get there
doing
from the
exactly what the state did.
Okay.
I'm looking at a piece of evidence and I am saying,
But you're not showing me how you get there.
Can you
from the
describe to the
inference.
audience what
yes.
Rule 11
So this, just so everybody who's watching this at home understands what I'm saying, even if he doesn't. What Andrew is arguing is that I don't have the right to extrapolate from a
made that
fact
argument.
like
Just making it up. Just purely making it up. I'm asking based on
Andrew,
based on
can I
your
show my
inference.
evidence? You just showed yours. Reliable hearsay.
You'll get a chance.
Reliable hearsay in criminal preliminary examinations. The entire preliminary hearing that you just saw was on the basis of reliable hearsay. And what that means essentially is the people who are making the statements can just say, Patrick told me that he did this on Monday. Patrick's not here. And that is, they can allow that into the hearing. That's just because it's just meant to be probative. And so it's the state saying, here's what we have inferred. So you are allowed to take a piece of evidence and then you are allowed to infer off of that evidence. Okay. Case in point, that's a demonstration that's a demonstration of what I just did. I said the prints were the most degraded off of Tyler Robinson. And from that, what I am inferring is that it's plausible that Tyler Robinson was set up.
That doesn't, that's the point in contention.
That's not a point in contention. That's
the point in contention.
It's not a point in contention. If you're saying
it is the point in contention.
It's not the point in contention. I'm telling you that is what the entire hearing allowed for. So the evidence that he is describing, he is using to argue his case is all based on inference, not fact.
Great.
Inference, not fact. So they are inferring off of the facts.
So again, we're going to take this. And I'm just going to even grant it because it's irrelevant. I'm asking how you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
What I am telling you is it's the exact same way that when you tweeted, I think that this evidence is overwhelming. When they say that looks like Tyler Robinson's car, he drives a similar car. Okay. They are inferring that that's Tyler Robinson.
Can you walk me through the inference? So that I understand.
It's not a fact. It's not a fact. When you show a
it's the video, bruh.
blurry image, which you kept citing that we
no,
have
I'm
images.
talking about your inference that the fingerprints, even if they're degraded, equals patsy. How do you get that inference?
I didn't say.
Gee, that's him trying to switch the conversation. He just got cut up. He got caught up right there.
Equals patsy. I think it is enough evidence that it should be explored, which is exactly what this preliminary was in the inverse.
That's not in dispute. What's in dispute is when you said, I'm using this as evidence that he could have been a patsy. I'm asking, how do you get the inference to patsy from that?
Because what I am saying is that it shows that somebody else had more DNA presence on that gun than Tyler Robinson did. So it is plausible, which is all they're doing. They're presenting plausibility based off of the facts. Okay. It is plausible that somebody just took his gun and put it there. That's it.
Is there equally
that's how it works.
And is there equally 100 other plausible explanations?
I think that's the reason why most people are exploring when things don't make sense.
Got it.
So yes, at the beginning of that, this is how the court process works.
So
just so we're clear,
if there's 100 other plausible explanations, then Candace, why is it that we should go with this idea that it was a patsy?
I'm not saying that we should go with the idea that it was a patsy. I am saying that there is.
I thought that was the whole defense. Your whole.
I don't know why Andrew. Well, it's more of him being intentionally dense. All people are saying is it's plausible. It's very plausible that this guy's a patsy. I don't even need all this evidence for it to be. It's very plausible that this guy's a patsy. I believe the guy's a patsy. It's clear, and it's not the first time that the government or the country or officials of the state will present a patsy. Oh, this is the guy that did it. I'm just not buying it. Especially there was a lot of other weird things going on that day too. I remember somebody was showing us, it wasn't Candace, but it was somebody else showing something like flight logs of of the person that actually took a shot or might have not taken a shot. It was a lot of weird shit that was going on that day. Oh yeah, then they found out that the conservatives voted against the release of the Epstein. It was a lot of weird shit that happened that the day of CK's death. So that, but anyways.
No, my whole claim was that there's more evidence that he is set up as a patsy.
How does that equal evidence of patsy?
I don't know how many times I can say this. Like I'm saying that I am using the exact same
She said this like 5 times already.
mechanism that you are accepting for some reason in the Utah courtroom, right? To say I'm going to look at the evidence and I'm going to infer an alternative theory. So you just saw the states and you're accepting it. And they have not presented any concrete facts. You listed on your own Twitter that what you found to be convincing was something that looked like his car pulled into the driveway, a blurry image.
No, I didn't.
The standard white guy coming up the steps that could literally be anyone.
This never happened.
Can we get a fact check on that? Can we pull up his tweet where he goes over
I didn't
the
say
four?
that's what convinced me.
When you actually didn't say it's what convinced me, but you said this is the evidence that you found to be overwhelming, and you named, I believe, actually 5 things. I think you said it was his car. You said it was.
Well, there's multitudes of things that I find.
You just said you didn't say it,
evidence.
so we're gonna get a fact check on that. You
Sure.
did.
Go ahead.
You said the blurry images coming up the steps. Quite literally, when Officer Bagley testified, they talk about when I'm talking about making inference. This is the most I thought was the most absurd testimony I've ever heard. And pardon me, it was actually David Hull. They asked him a question. How did you know the guy in the maroon shirt was the same as the guy that came up the stairs later that was wearing the American flag black shirt? And he said, they're wearing the same shoes.
Oh yeah, I remember. I do remember this. Did I talk about that? No, I didn't talk about this on the show, but I do remember this.
Absurd.
That's how you decided these two are the same people. Oh wow, what a scientific. They're both wearing Converses. Okay,
It was all over Twitter too during that time. And I was like, damn, they gonna do us. They gonna do us. They gonna do us this right in front of our face, just like that. Dang. But anyway, I do remember that specific situation. My bad, guys.
absurd thing to say. That is not evidence that these are the same people if we're both wearing Converses. That was what he said. That's what flew on the stand.
But I still don't understand how that would be absurd. If somebody,
it's an absurd thing.
For instance, if somebody were to change their clothes but keep the same shoes on, wouldn't you utilize the shoes to try to track that person?
The idea that on a college campus, 2 people wearing this totally different outfits but both wearing Converses can't happen is such an absurdity that I don't even need to argue that. I'm just going to let people deal. Why is it absurd? Just concede that point. Obviously, it's absurd thing to say.
I'm not
I know
sure,
these are the same people because they're both wearing Converse.
Yeah, I'm not sure if in context that's what happened. But
it
even
is.
if it
you
is,
can get a fact check on
but
it.
even if it is, again,
And it was
if we're utilizing inferences with,
Well, there's a reason why they didn't really bring a fact check. There's a lot of things that they kind of they try to skip over, but I remember that fact check at the end when they thought, I don't know, maybe I don't know. I think Andrew Wilson really underestimated. Well, maybe Andrew Wilson didn't underestimate, but I guess maybe I'll say Turning Point USA underestimated Candace Owens and overestimated Andrew Wilson's debating skills. I'll say, how about that's a fair point. Because I said in the beginning of the show that if I had the direct line to Andrew Wilson, and if I knew that this debate was going to happen first with him and Candace, I would have told him not to do it. And I would have told him specifically, I would say, you're not on her level. Respectfully, when it comes to intellect, your job, Andrew Wilson, is to dunk on low-hanging fruit and smoke your cigars, or your cigarettes to make yourself look cool to the simple-minded. That's your job. If you go on Candace Owens, you're going to lose a lot of aura. You're going to lose a lot of aura points, especially to especially when you're talking about the normies, or when you're talking about anybody that's just looking at this. They're going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy looks a little bit out of his depth. Reaper Rel says, I'm not sure in context that's what happened. What does that actually mean? Exactly. He's just talking. But when he's doing little things like that, he's just trying to cut her off as much as possible just to throw her off. That's what he does. And when he realizes he can't really intimidate you, he starts grasping, he just starts speaking random. He basically starts rambling when he realizes he can't bully you. So even though maybe he knew Candace Owens wasn't intellectual, or I won't say it like that. Maybe he did know that Candace Owens was above her. Maybe he knew that Candace Owens was above him, but he probably still felt like, well, she is a woman, so I could probably do this. Nah, that's not going to work on Candace. It's just not.
Whenever we're dealing with logic and we're dealing with making a logical inference, we're going to take the entire collaboration of evidence and then we're going to make inferences from that. You would do that with any type of logical proposition. Otherwise, you could never have a true or false claim.
You just told me I couldn't.
So that never happened. You're just making stuff up. So anyway, when we're talking about logical inferences, what I'm looking for is the logical.
This nigga. Oh yeah. By the way, This is not me just, oh man, I'm happy. This is another person debating Andrew Wilson, so I'm gonna just talk up the other person. I've already dropped 2 separate live streams, and I explained to the audience who Candace Owens is, who she is, the type of personality that she is. She's not the average broad. When it comes to talking politics, when it comes to talking policy, when it comes to talking about things, when it comes to talking about general topics in popular culture, she's not the average broad, right? She's from Connecticut. I dropped 2 separate streams explaining Candace Owens, her whole personality type. So this is not me just talking up somebody that's destroying Andrew Wilson. I'm just showing you this is, I've already knew this about Candace Owens. So if I knew that Candace Owens was going to debate Andrew Wilson, because apparently it was a whole announcement that I missed, I would have been way in front of this. I would have done this specific live stream the day of the debate. So this is not me just front running. This is not me front running Candace Owens. I've already talked about who she is and what she is.
Inferences that you have that Tyler Robinson's a patsy based on the totality of evidence that you have.
We can keep going through your other evidence. We should find his tweet where he lists the reasons that he was convinced.
So let's start with the 30-6. I think that's fine.
Your team's looking for. Do you remember how long ago that was?
The tweets of the 5. Did you delete it or no?
No,
Did you delete
tweets.
Okay, cool. I just look for. He said it was his car. It was his. It was the car, and it was definitely the staircase photos, and it was when the trial was going on.
Okay, she has it. Perfect. If you got Skylar has it. If you want to pull it up so we can see it.
Somebody said, so give me the clear evidence right here. I want you to provide it right here. All I heard from the investigator was, we believe this to be Tyler Robinson. Is belief something you go as a fact? You wrote the car pulling in. That's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. You have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson. The fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, the fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
Just so we're clear, you did tweet it.
But it's not an exhaustive.
Yeah, just 5 seconds ago, you should.
Oh, now he's trying to do semantics. It's not an exhaustive list. Well, it's still a list of things, bruh. It's not an exhaustive amount of lists. You tweeted it, brother. You tweeted it. Reaperell says, instead of sticking to speaking on the story, he's trying to find arguments within the argument. Is shit that sounds smart to dumb people who can't follow. That reminds me of, that's something that I'm so happy for my black references, man. I'm so happy. Yes. Charlemagne the God, he does the same thing to Dame Dash anytime they argue. And Dame Dash picked up on it, and Dame Dash told Charlemagne the God, this was in 2015. He says, you sound smart to someone who's dumb. Oh man. Shout out to Dame Dash. Reaperell says, yes, she is very knowledgeable on political manners. When she was being childish on racial matters, that's when she showed her stupidity, but that was when she had the small hat battery and funding. But here's the thing, because I when I did the separate stream on Candace Owens, I think she was talking about Eminem or something. Eminem had tried to call her out, and Candace Owens was basically standing 10 toes down. And I was trying to explain to the audience, I'm like, Candace Owens, she doesn't want to be put in a box, right? So an insult to her, someone like a Candace Owens, because Candace Owens, she comes kind of where we come from, Reaper. So she's from Connecticut. She's from, I don't want to say that, well, yes, whatever. We know the city she's from. The biggest diss to somebody like a Candace Owens is if you assume something about her. So she's gonna do things. She's always gonna try to think outside the box. She's gonna do everything in her power to make sure she's not put in a box. She's that type of chick. So she's not going to do average things. She's gonna do everything in her power to not be like the others, whether it be like other women, like other black people, like, or I don't think Candace Owens is FBA, but or whatever, or wherever her real peoples are from, she's gonna try to do everything to be not that. She wants to be herself, whatever it is. So you can, so if that means being a contrarian, even though she shouldn't be, if it means, because her background story is I think she got like racially discriminated against at her high school, or something happened to her racially at her high school. Now, most of the time when somebody goes through something like that at a young age, they become, liberal. They go on a journey, but she ends up going the complete opposite. Or even when she said who her first boyfriend was, it didn't shock me that it was an Asian dude. She's the type to do something like that, because people would see somebody like a Candace Owens, they're gonna be, oh no, she's only into white guys. I'm like, no, I have a I have a feeling it's a little bit, it's not as simple as that. And then when she came out and said my first boyfriend was an Asian dude, that did not shock me at all. She's that type of chick. So maybe I think Pyro was probably there when I was talking about this stuff. But yeah, that's Candace Owens. That's her personality. So she's the type, she's always going to think outside the box. She's very against, she's not an average thinking person. So you're not going to be able to pull the okey doke on her, so that's how she is. Now she's still a plant. Believe it or not, there's video of her instilling on there's a video of her where she was in a rap video when she was younger. So she still tried to go that route. There's an IMDb page on her. She did try to make it in the industry. It didn't really work out. Right. So she went this route. So all of these things are still true. So this is not me just just so I've spoken on this, so trust me, she has many flaws, many flaws, but I know the type of chick she is, because I've seen, there's some chicks, I know chicks like her, and then on top of that, her mentality, she reminds me of a dude that I knew when I was in middle school. She has his exact same mentality. There's a guy that I went to middle school with. He's my friend. He actually follows this channel. He knows exactly who I'm talking about. There's this Asian dude I went to in middle school. She acts exactly like this dude that I knew in middle school. Even like when she her awkwardness, how she makes jokes, she reminds me exactly of him. So it's just, that's kind of the when I make these connections, that's kind of what I go off of. But shout out to my boy from one of my friends. I went to middle school with him. He sometimes follows my channel. He knows exactly who I'm talking about. Exactly. But anyways, that's me kind of going off. But as soon as I saw Candace Owens talking for the first time and how she attacks her critics and I was like, oh, I know what type of. And then I found out that she was from Connecticut and what city she was from. I was like, oh yeah, but I know exactly. I know who I know who she is. I know exactly what she is. I had her clocked. Oh, you said matters, not manners. Okay. Watson says, to be fair, Owen and Wilson, I can't really root for either because Owens ultimately is just another pawn. I agree with that. I agree. Reaper Rels says she was a video vixen. B. Watson says, there is an irony here that if Candace Owens married Kirk, black women would have defended Kirk to death. There's believe it or not, black women are kind of split when it comes to Candace Owens. They're actually split. They like her for obvious reasons, meaning her dating choices, but once they find out what her political alignments are, what she thinks about certain people, then they can't really back her like they want to. So black women are actually split on Candace Owens, believe it or not. And that is true. if Candace Owens had married Kirk, you know, or if it was official that Candace Owens was a side chick of Kirk, or if they used to date, black women would be defending Kirk. Yes, they would. Believe it or not, yeah, I do agree. I do agree with that. But anyways, let me play this again.
You said I only said this one thing and said that was overwhelming. Actually,
that's not what I said.
It is. You can even pull your own clip.
Can you fact check if that was said or not? I did not hear her say.
So the
this.
thing is funny here. Is like,
no, Andrew Wilson, he's capping.
We still aren't getting to any of these inferences. So
why are you pivoting?
So
just say you're wrong. Just say I was wrong.
I'm not wrong. So back to the tweet.
Oh yeah, that's also his brand too. He's always going to say that he's never wrong. I've seen him do this many times, which is, it's just a weird thing to do. But anyways,
the tweet aspect here was really funny. That's not an exhaustive list of why I find it.
I didn't say it was exhaustive. I just said you said it.
And on top of it, well, no, you didn't. You said that I only said this one thing.
Oh yeah, that is plausible, B. Watkins. And I even said this at the time. You had like the conservatives; they were trying to discredit Candace Owens by saying, "Oh, she's just a former lover of Charlie Kirk's. That's why she's going this hard." I was like, and I was trying to tell them, like, you better hope that she's not a former lover of Kirk, because then she's definitely going to get to the bottom. She's definitely going to get to the bottom of this. Like, they were trying to use that potentially as, oh, she's just a former lover of Kirk. They're trying to use that as a way to discredit her. And I was like, no, that's why do you think she's going this hard? That means she's definitely going to find out what really happened. So I'm like, you guys better hope that you're clean. Because if she's really a former lover of Kirk's, she's not going to drop it. She's not going to drop this topic. And then you even bringing that up, you're just going to egg her on to do more. Can't, like, she's not gonna, she's not gonna bow down. And then especially the security that she has. Isn't Candace Owens' husband Jewish? Or I don't know if he's Jewish, but he is Caucasian. But she has the ultimate security, so she's not. Please. She has the ultimate security. B. Watkins says conservatives tend to genuinely be dumb, really dumb, and lack foresight. Side chicks be finding out who murked you to her last breath. Yeah, so that also shows you know exactly what you said. A lot of these conservatives, particularly the males, I think they lack, a lot of them, they just lack experience with women in general. I think they think women are one thing, and they don't realize that women have many layers. Women have many layers to them. So we already understand the dynamic of when you'll have guys say, man, my side chick treats me better than my main chick. Of course, because the main chick has the security. The side chick doesn't. But then also but the side chick also has a lot of leverage, because she can end up rocking his world, blowing up his world if she gets pissed off. So we already understand the balance of that. We understand the human nature side of things when it comes to women, but conservatives, they tend to really neglect that part. So if they see women showing signs of this, they think it's a woman being evil, and not just really just a woman just being a woman. So conservatives really have that blind spot that they seem to never take care of.
And then said, based on that, it's over. Well, I didn't. You didn't mention that I mentioned the screwdriver, DNA, all these other things. You never mentioned any of that. So no, you're actually incorrect there. But on top of that, moving over to the actual evidence itself.
Are you?
Yes, I'm okay.
No, he's not. That nigga's he's Candace Owens, she's trying not to crack up. This dude is something wrong with this boy. Like he's Steven Seagal. Andrew Wilson, he's Steven Seagal. He has that same mentality. Candace Owens just proved herself right in live in 4K, and Andrew Wilson he's just completely denying what just happened. We want to talk about, delusional girls on these podcasts and all this. He just pulled, the delusional card right there. verbatim. She said, "No, this was on your tweet. This is what I pulled from your tweet. This is what you said." They show the evidence showing that Candace Owens was right, and he's arguing about semantics. Well, you said an exhaustive list. No, Candace Owens said you had a list of things that you listed as overwhelming evidence to show that Tyler Robinson was culpable. And now you're trying to make it seem like we didn't see what we just saw with your tweet. Candace Owens is like, yo, something wrong with this boot. Something wrong with that boy.
Thing, and then said based on that it's over. Well, I didn't. You didn't mention that I mentioned the screwdriver, DNA, all these other
case. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
Well, just so we're clear, you did tweet it.
But it's not an exhaustive.
Yeah,
well,
just 5 seconds ago, you should concede.
You said I only said this one thing and said that was overwhelming, actually.
No, she said you had a list of things that you said. Oh man, like yeah, some people they there's a lot of delusion. You can be a very prideful person, but that could border on delusion, depending on who the person is. So I've seen Andrew Wilson do that many times, where you'll have I remember a super chatter had called him out in the CGA debate, and then he ended off his retort to the chat was, well, he could never be right because I am always right. And he said that with a straight face. And I remember seeing that live, and I was like, I'm like, is this guy well? this is the fuck. Yeah, this I'm like some I don't know. That's a form of mental illness right there. But anyways,
thing, and then said based on that it's over. Well, I didn't. You didn't mention that I mentioned the screwdriver, DNA, all these other things. You never mentioned any of that. So no, you're actually incorrect there. But on top of that, moving over to the actual evidence itself.
Are you?
Yes, I'm okay. Anyway, back to the evidence itself.
Okay.
Yes,
actually, I'm glad you're asserting that you're okay. I wasn't worried about your health. I'm just saying that I just said you tweeted this. You said no, I didn't. We got a fact check, and now you're like just gonna gaslight me and pretend that I said
no gaslighting.
It wasn't exhaustive. I never said that. I just said you did say this.
Zero gaslighting.
I didn't say you couldn't have said more, but I would like to address what you
this
said
is
in
your
that tweet.
time. If this is how you want to spend it interrogating my position, you can do it that way.
I'm just addressing what you asserted on your Twitter was like the hard evidence that convinced you was overwhelming. That's literally
that's
your
not
debate
what you
claim.
said. That's not actually, in fact, what happened in that exchange. I was here for it.
So what?
Hey, this is people's hero. This is people's hero. That's weird. That is weirdo behavior. That is pure weirdo behavior. It's not even a matter of, you don't even have to say you're wrong. You could just be like, look, fuck it. Let's move on. You can literally just say, fuck it. Let's move on. And then I could just call you out for just not saying that you were wrong verbatim, but it is what it is. But now you're trying to act like she didn't say what she just said. And we didn't see the tweet that proved Candace Owens right. Now you're gonna act like we just didn't see it. What the fuck? It's like seeing one of those delusional chicks on one of these panels getting proved wrong in real time and just doubling down on the stupidities, doubling down on the delusion. And I'll say this: shout out to Candace Owens. She was gonna say, "Are you well?" Are you okay? But that would have been kind of disrespectful to call that out in real time. So she did catch herself. So shout out to her. But yeah, that was a really weird moment in the debate where he got proven wrong in 4K, and he's just acting like it didn't happen. That's just weirdo, pure weirdo behavior.
Exhaustive. I never said that. I just said you did say this.
Zero gaslighting.
I didn't say you couldn't have said more, but I would like to address what you
this
said
is
in
your
that tweet.
time. If this is how you want to spend it interrogating my position, you can do it that way.
I'm just addressing what you asserted on your Twitter was like the hard evidence that convinced you was overwhelming. That's literally
that's
your
not
debate
what
claim.
you said. That's not actually, in fact, what happened in that exchange. I was here for it.
Patrick Bet David. You should have saw Patrick Bet David's face. He knows he's wrong. He knows he's wrong.
So what's your position here?
Yeah, so my position is that based on all of the evidence, which has been demonstrated, at least all the evidence to my knowledge, that I'm actually not seeing anything that's compelling as an alternative theory. I'm not seeing anything which is convincing me of something otherwise than what the state is presenting as evidence. That's my position.
Okay.
That's what you're asking me.
So just going back to what you did actually tweet, is it fair for me to ask questions about that?
Is that the only tweet you're going to ask me about?
Well, we're addressing your claim that the evidence is overwhelming, and this is a tweet where you listed what you felt was overwhelming. I think that's fair.
But no,
right? I feel like
that's, bruh. I would really like to see an Andrew Wilson fanboy defend this moment of the show. That was just this is just weird, bro. Just pure weirdo behavior.
But not exhaustive, just so you know.
And I never said it was exhaustive.
Go
I know
ahead.
you said I did.
Sure, whatever you want.
But
That whether she said exhaustive or not, first of all, she didn't say exhaustive. She just said you had a list of the things that you said that you deemed was overwhelming evidence, and now you're gonna act like you didn't tweet that.
yeah, so going back to that, all of that, as you say to me, well, Candace, why are you addressing and making inferences off of the testimony?
No, I never asked you why. You're making inferences. I asked you how, with the inference you made, you got to the conclusion.
Okay, so I would like to know how you got to the conclusion. And I'm just gonna go right back at you. Because for some reason
fair.
you permit yourself to do it, and that's what I'm demonstrating, is that you permit yourself to do it, and then you say, when I do it, it's a conspiracy, right?
No.
How are you able to infer off of blurry staircase images that is Tyler Robinson?
Yeah, so in that particular case, what you do is you take that evidence, you combine it with other evidence. So it's not just that Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, because, I mean, we'll just use this. If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you make everybody, you call them
what I'm trying
conspiracy
to explain to you.
Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference why I think it's Tyler Robinson, is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, Twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say.
Yeah, I would. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
I'm paraphrasing, but it was close.
Yeah, I know. I think
By the
right.
way, Twigs himself said that he had some maybe a tiny bit of.
By the way, somebody had pointed this out, I think on Twitter or YouTube. No, it was on Twitter. It was on Twitter. He clearly, Andrew Wilson clearly had an earpiece in his right ear. Clear, like he was fixing that little earpiece that he had. But people might not be able to see it. But when somebody pointed out the motion that he was doing, it kind of reminded me of the Kamala debate with Orange Man, I think. Who was Kamala? Yeah, Kamala with the Kamala debate with Orange Man. Fixing the earpiece with people feeding him the information.
Doubt, but it sure looked like Tyler Robinson inside of this various surveillance footage that he saw.
So Lance, sorry,
hang on. So there's multiple reasons why it is that I believe that that's Tyler Robinson, not just because of blurry footage.
Did you have a dream? Just kidding.
No, it's because I combined multitudes of evidences.
Okay, so
she was kidding, bro. She was kidding. Oh my god, this nigga, man. He's first of all, he's sweat. Now you can really see the sweat on him. You definitely can really see him sweating.
Let's address those multitude of evidences. The first one we're going to fact check on, because I do not ever remember him tweeting that's me in the staircase. I mean, or texting that's me in the staircase. I think that I
didn't say that. I said I literally didn't. What I said is that he texted over, you'll be able to see me in footage at UVU. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Yeah, could we get a fact check on that? The second thing you said was Lance's testimony, and actually what Lance says is, I'm not 100%.
I agree.
But in terms of what he wears, again, me pointing out the absurdity, he wears Converses, he wears sneakers. If his boyfriend is not 100%, I'd like to understand why Andrew Wilson is overwhelmed by it. That's what I'm trying to get to. And lastly, I would like to remind you that Lance's statement would not be permitted. This was a huge part of the preliminary hearing, that they were leading. All the questions that were asked of him were leading, so they would be struck down at the actual trial. And also, I would like to remind you that he got use immunity for that. Use immunity.
I understand.
Which means like
that happens, by the way, all the time in these cases.
I'm wondering why it particularly happened for Lance in this testimony. And I would also like to point out that something that's remarkable about this, again, leaning to my perspective, that Lance has a lot more, which I have said many times, Lance has a lot more involvement than the feds are letting us know. I think more is going to come out because they interviewed him on September 11th. And then for whatever reason, just ahead of what was supposed to be slated as the preliminary hearing, which was initially supposed to be in May, they bring him back to do this interview, which in my opinion should have never been allowed. And I actually agree with the defense that it's a violation of his constitutional rights not to allow them to have cross-examined him. But I understand Utah 1102, do what you do. It's all hearsay. But to allow it in that way, for him to just be able to also have use immunity, knowing that he's not going to get in trouble. He could literally get up there and lie about anything, and he's not going to get in trouble because the use immunity was given to him in April, I believe. April 28th is when they gave that testimony to the defense. I think they shot it in like April 20th of 2020.
Shout out to OJ Desire in the chat, man. What's up, man? Because I think I probably will have to do 3 parts to the debate, because the debate was about 2 hours, 2.5 hours or something like that. I could be wrong. But if it hits, I want because I definitely want to stretch. Pause. I definitely want to stretch the time to 11 if I can. If I can, I want to stretch it to 11 now, and I want to see the minute mark where it leaves off at. Hopefully, I'll only have to do 2 parts. Hopefully, I'll only have to do 2 parts. I think I actually can do 2 parts to it. Reaper says then he went on to accuse her of reading her phone for the charges. Yeah. That video, I maybe because I don't want to jump around. But that was at the end. That was at the end of the debate. That was on the tail end of the debate when that specific thing happened, where she proved him wrong again, in real time, and he accused he accused her of cheating, of looking on her phone, and then she took out the phone. She took out the phone and she gave it to Patrick Bet-David, and she's like, "Look, you can look in my phone. I'm clean." that situation that you're talking about, that happened to me when I was a kid. Because you'll have hoe ass niggas, they will doubt your knowledge, even though it's like it's your turf. It's your turf. They try to challenge you on your turf. You call them out, they get embarrassed, and then you try to educate them, and then they try to disrupt you in your education and say that you're taking too long educating me. And you'll still prove them wrong, and then they'll still have some weirdo shit to say. Oh, you obsessed with this shit. Nah. Take your L. Take your fucking L. Man, there was this boy, right? I think this was in high school. This was when I wasn't even outspoken about this nonsense. Somebody was trying to tell me about a player, one of my favorite players, and I was saying, look, if you don't know the lineup of this team from this year, I don't want to hear what you said. Because what you're about to tell me is some secondhand. You're trying to tell me what third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth person knowledge. You have no idea what this is about, right? And he was trying to really stand on the situation. I was like, look, this is what you said was wrong, right? And I can prove what you said was wrong. This was a soccer debate, obviously. And then I was trying to tell him, no, this is what happened. This player that you said that was playing, he wasn't playing like that. He was not getting real playing time like that. The coach would put him in for 50 minutes and then take him out. If you look at his, the actual minutes that he played, he was not even playing more. He wasn't even playing more than the bench players. And I was trying to, and he was like, well, can you tell me who was the lineup? And I was like, okay. And this year, this was this lineup, blah, 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 blah. This was, I was defending Pogba. I was defending Pogba. I was defending Paul Pogba at the time. This was when this is the, because in what people forget, the year, wait a minute. Yeah, the 2011-2012 season, when he was promoted to the first team for Manchester United, he was supposed to get more playing. Once they promoted him, he was supposed to get playing time. He didn't play him. There was a cup game. English cup game. That's what, in the cup games, that's when you're supposed to allow your youth players to play, to give them some playing time. I remember specifically Paul, it was like Scholes and somebody else in the midfield. They weren't available for that game. It was a cup game. Fergie put Raphael and Fabio. I think I don't know if he put either Fabio or Raphael in the midfield. Mind you, these guys are defenders that I just listed. He put a right back in the midfield, and Pogba was sitting on the bench, just mad as hell. And he was just, when I saw that situation, I'm like, oh yeah, he's gone. He's gone. He's leaving. So this not okay. So okay, I didn't know that you knew about that. It was an English. You can like so you know what happened. It was an English Cup game, and it wasn't an FA Cup. It was either an FA Cup or English Cup. I don't remember, because I don't remember which cup it was. But it was his opportunity to play that day, and Fergie put Fabio in the midfield. Pogba was sitting on that bench like he was literally like, are you freaking kidding me? But what people don't understand, Fergie and Pogba's agent, they were beefing at the time. Raiola. They were Fergie had a big problem with Raiola. And he took it out on Pogba. So he would even put things in the press where he'll be like, "Oh, Pogba's not ready to play, and this and all this stuff. He's asking for him." I'm like, stop. So after that situation, I was like, "Oh, he's gone. He's gone." And then that's when Juventus picked him up for peanuts. They got him on a free transfer, and that was one of the best transfers that they ever did. But yeah, I was arguing during that time because they were saying, well, Pogba wasn't getting playing time at Man U because of this and that. I'm like, no, that you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. No disrespect, but it's just people don't notice. They'll just say something, right? Without its proper context. They're like, whoa, Pogba had an attitude problem. I'm like, no, that's not what happened. And then that same person, I ended up having an argument with him about, Balotelli and his situation. And I was, so it was just whatever. But I just remember that specific situation. I was like, bro, if you don't even remember who Man U was, you don't even remember who they were playing with during that time, like, and what happened and why Pogba left. Like, you don't understand the disrespect. It's just a lot of people. They be talking out their ass. They're relying on what somebody else said. Shout out to Pyro with the $2 super chat. I missed it. Let me give him a shout out real quick.
Donations. Gifts. More gifts.
By the way, when I was talking about the 50 minutes thing, I was talking about when Balotelli was playing at Liverpool, the few times he would start, they would only give him 50 minutes. And if he didn't score in 50 minutes or 48 minutes, Brendan Rodgers would take it. They would just yank him off. So he didn't really get a fair shake at Liverpool. So when I remember just in the library discussing these things with these people, they would shit on certain people without context. And I would call out people's knowledge. I was like, if you don't even know the lineup, the stuff from this year, I don't really want to hear your knowledge on these certain people. Respectfully. That was always my always my stance, right? It's because I used to, especially when I was a kid, I used to follow all of this stuff. I remember watching Hazard when in 2010, 2009, Eden Hazard was whipping ass. Like he was, Eden Hazard was putting grown niggas on their ass in the French league, giving niggas the business. So I remember like him leading his team to win the French league. Like I remember all of this stuff. So it's a lot of people. They they're casuals. They have their own little agendas and they try to push certain shit about certain people that they don't like. And I don't have patience for that shit. Or people want to say they'll say certain things about certain players are lazy, certain players are not lazy, and they have no idea what's going on. But anyways, shout out to Pyro for the $2 super chat. He's saying she's playing at she's playing in his face at this point. Yeah, Candace Owens, she's made the proper deduction that something's wrong with like Wilson. He's a hack. She's at this point, she was like, oh, this guy really thinks he's Jesus Christ. When you're dealing with somebody that can't even admit that they're wrong, even when they get caught in 4K like that, you're dealing with somebody with like a serious mental illness. You know what I mean? So that's something that Candace Owens, she just saw that in real life time, and she was like, "Oh, this guy's this guy's a hack." Oh man. Oh yeah, but by the way, I used to be so Reaper Rail says, Sir Alex is my coaching goat, but Fergie would do head games like that. Like there's a lot of coach like Mourinho, he'll get a lot of credit, but people don't give when he gets things wrong, people don't ever want to call Mourinho out when he gets things wrong. And Ferguson, similar. He would do these things and he was wrong for doing what he did. Right? Brendan Rodgers was wrong the way he treated Balotelli. In my opinion, he treated him like a scapegoat. He didn't really have a plan for him. But I remember, I'll say that Man U team in 2011, 2012, the one that lost when they lost the title. No. Oh, how about this? When Man U won the title, the next year, it was just funny to me because people were, at the time. I don't know if you remember there's this one player that Man U your team had, Tom Cleverley. People are like, you see, we did the right decision. We don't need Pogba. We don't need this. We got Tom Cleverley and we got Anderson in our midfield. And I was like, you guys got to be the dumbest group. I used to go in on the Man U fans for being dumbasses. I was like, you guys are winning all these titles because of Fergie, not because of the players you think are talented or not talented. Fergie was the reason why you guys won in 2012 and 2013, right? That was Fergie's last year. He saw the writing on the wall. He knew Manchester City was about to run the whole. He was about Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea were going to run the league for the next 10 to 15 years. He knew that. He said, yeah, and Anderson ended up being a joke. People, I used to see people make these Cleverly and Pogba videos, and I was like, are you guys fucking dumb? I used to literally be like, these people are I'm like, these people are retards. Like even you'll hear Americans start talking about certain players, and you're like, what are y'all talking about? I'm like, Cleverly, he's gonna after Fergie leaves, he's gonna be irrelevant in the next 2 to 3 years. There's certain players that play well under certain coaches in certain systems. Cleverly is one of those people. Anderson, one of those people. No disrespect. There's look, I know this is a different sport I'm about to bring up. You're bringing up football, American football. Cam Newton said it best. You got game changers, you got game managers, right? Some people, they got offended by that, but there's people that they play well in certain systems. Right? But you're still people, I'm still dealing with the nonsense now. Like the average, soccer fan or / football fan, in America, they're just not. I see why talent, they can't really pinpoint actual talented people, and the actual talented people fall through the cracks. I see why, because they're the people's talent evaluation. I don't get it. I don't get it sometimes. And then people like when Pogba came back to Man U, and you'll even have you'll have people will say, oh, he didn't play that good when he was with Man U. Well, actually, yes, he did. They just weren't title contenders anymore. Right? He still played well relatively to what he was asked to do for the team. And he was never given a free roaming role, or a role where, or they never gave him a midfield partner where he could be more creative, where he would have more freedom to be creative. You can't ask Pogba to be creative, and you had a guy like uh, um, what's the Brazilian's name? Why am I blanking on the Brazilian's name? They had all these bunch of midfield partners that Pogba had to play with in his second stint with Man U, and these people are not. He literally left Juventus where he was playing with Pirlo, Marquisio, Vidal. These were literally the best midfielders in the world at the time he got to play with. Mind you, he put Marquisio on the bench. This was probably the best box-to-box midfielder in the world at the time. He's playing with these players, like great players, great midfielders, great left backs, right backs, playing with Tevez, Dybala, world class players at the time, winning the title with Juventus every year. Like, he was playing with title winners, world class players, and then you go from that to playing with fucking what's the Brazilian's name? I'm like, it's this one Brazilian, not Anderson. It's another Brazilian that they that was. Oh yeah, they had Scott McTominay when he was playing bad. Because Scott McTominay, he used to play a more deeper role for Man U, but Scott McTominay, he's actually world class. When he left Man U, he became world class. It's just Man U, they don't know how to manage their players. They just don't know how to manage their players. But at the time, the players that Pogba was playing with, I was like, they're not maximizing his potential, his creative potential. They were making him play too deep, right? Exactly. Mourinho was the wrong coach for Pogba. Exactly the complete wrong coach for Pogba. I always believe Pogba would have been better off if Man City had signed him, or if he stayed at Juventus, or if he ended up going to well, yeah, I think Barca. I think he should have aimed, or made it known that he wanted to go to Barca. I think he would have fit right in because Xavi was retiring. Rakitic, yes, he was world class at the time, but he wasn't a sure. I think Pogba would have been able to. He would have been in the starting lineup had Barca signed him at the time. Madrid, cause the reason why I don't say Madrid, because I don't think he would have started over Modric or Cruz. You know, that's why I say Barca, because Barca in a 10-year stint between like 2016 and now, they signed a whole bunch of center midfielders, like a whole bunch of center midfielders. They really couldn't get like a consistent rotation for a little bit after Xavi left, and then Iniesta had left Barca in 2018, so they couldn't really find a proper rotation, after the departure of, and specifically when Rakitic went back to Sevilla, they really were they were just going through all types of midfielders. But anyways, exactly, Pogba was supposed to play higher up. You see how like Bellingham got to play like damn near like a false nine role with Madrid before Mbappe came. Like, Pogba was supposed to at least get a little bit more license to roam more forward. Exactly. He says when Pogba played with Matuidi, they used to interchange playing deep and playing up front, and they won that year with France. Yeah, so in that midfield, what they had, they would play, Deschamps would play Conte and Pogba together in the midfield, and then they would have Matuidi play on the left wing. But really, Matuidi was running that whole left wing, and then you had Lucas Hernandez playing left back, and then they would always put Pogba on that left side. So Pogba would have so much creative freedom on that left-hand side. That's what they, you know how like with Modric, they always put him, anytime if they're playing with two midfielders, they would always put Modric on the left side. That's how they were doing it with Pogba. So it gave Pogba so much freedom to like just be himself. Because first of all, when you're playing with Conte, it's like you're playing with an extra man, right? He's that good. And then you have my Tweety literally running that whole left-hand side, that left mid side, that left wing with Lucas Hernandez playing left back. I mean, bruh. that's hold on, let me look at that starting lineup. France starting 11 World Cup 2018. Yeah, Lucas Hernandez was playing left back. I just had to make sure I got it right. So they had that, yeah, they would have my Tweety on that left-hand side just causing chaos. And then they would put Mbappe on the right-hand side. They would put Mbappe on the right-hand side and then put my Tweety on the left-hand side. And then they would put Griezmann behind Giroud. And Giroud's job was just to hold the ball. So Pogba had so much creative freedom. Exactly. Napoli plays Scott McTominay further up and they allow him to attack. And really, Scott McTominay, when he was in youth academy, he was playing striker. So it's just, yeah, exactly. His name was Fred. They would have Pogba playing with Fred. And it was just, but anyways, I don't even want to get you know, but these are the little nuances that people miss out when they're talking about certain players, right? But you know, that's a whole other story.
6, that is not compelling to me for somebody who has use immunity to give a testimony and to say, I'm not really sure, but definitely like he wears jeans and stuff.
That's not what he said.
He did. Actually, you can get a fact check on that.
Yeah, that's
Scott,
not,
I think
he
you
said
pulled
much
it up.
more
If
than
you
that.
wanna, so a couple things we have. We have Rule 801, Tyler's messages, that says it's not hearsay. But first, go to what Candace is asking about. Skylar, I think you have it. You just texted me if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text. If we can put that up on the screen. Thank you.
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this. And I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I don't remember that.
Well, I'm just saying to you, like,
okay.
I'm trying to be concise for you.
And then also,
That's kind of low class from Andrew Wilson. At least Candace Owens was willing to admit that she was wrong about a certain detail. And Andrew Wilson, the first chance he gets to prove her wrong, he's like, oof. Meanwhile, you got caught wrong. You got caught being wrong in 4K, and and not only did you refuse to say that you were wrong, you acted like she was crazy. Some like I said, this is a form of mental illness, guys. Form very like sorry for muttering. This is a form of mental illness. This is a really bad look.
it was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this. And I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I don't remember that.
Well, I'm just saying to you, like, I'm trying to be concise for you.
And then also bring the 801 that you just said. What was the other one?
Yep, the 801. Tyler message is saying it's not hearsay. If you have that as well. There you go.
Wait, what are we saying? It's not hearsay.
Statements that are not hearsay. A statement that meets the following conditions is not hearsay.
It was hearsay. They said it in the trial.
Hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Is consistent with the declarant's testimony and the declarant denies having made the statement or has forgotten, or is consistent with the declarant's testimony and is offered to rebut the express implied charge that the declarant recently fabricated or acted in recent improper influence or motive in testifying. So then wouldn't that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the issue with his
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Would that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the opposing party, which down the line, like I said, they talked about this for about an hour and a half, and they discussed how if Lance was in court and he was giving his first party, giving his testimony as the opposing party, whatever, all of this would be fine. They had an issue with how the questions were being asked and that they were not allowed to cross-examine him. Mm-hmm. So that is why his video testimony would not be accepted in the main trial. And what I said to you is this entire preliminary hearing is under Utah's 1102. So they are allowed to just use hearsay. And
no,
so
you didn't say that. You said most of it was hearsay, actually.
Yeah,
the overwhelming majority.
Well, I mean, and that's I'm leaning now into my opinion that some scientific aspects, which they kept asserting, like the federal rule 403 or 402, some of those parts were quite scientific.
Sounds like you're backtracking quite a bit.
No, I'm not backtracking at all. What do you feel like? Let me help you. Where do you feel like I'm backtracking? It literally was done under Utah's 1102.
Yeah, nobody disputed that.
Okay.
What the dispute was is
he could even tell her where she's backtracking. He just said that just to throw everybody off.
Whether or not most of it was overwhelmingly hearsay.
Yes,
is that the
it
case?
was. Yes, that's
Okay.
a fact. I'm not backtracking on
And
that
what
at
are
all.
the things?
How many times did you, I mean, if you watch it really hear it, it's like they constantly, I'm 1102, 1102, 1102, 1102,
That's true.
1102. And the reason for that is because it's allowed. I'm not saying it's illegal. It's allowed at this
Mm-hmm.
stage, but I'm just reminding you that when you're going to sit across from someone and your claim is going to be, where is your hard evidence? This is what I heard and I agree with what I'm watching. You are watching the state put on a hearsay
Yes.
preliminary
There's gonna be
hearing.
hearsay. True.
And all of those things are not going to be allowed, right? Even when they got into witness statements and things of that nature. There's a reason why they swear you in and they say, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth. Did you,
These
write
things
this
are not in
statement?
dispute.
So it's the overwhelming majority of what you saw was hearsay because other people were representing other people's statements. They were saying they had conversations. We don't know where it came from, all allowed at this stage. Okay. But it's hearsay. So
But even a lot of that stuff may not fall under hearsay under what we just read, right?
but the evidence that you're speaking about, like when you're just, when you say that we're going off vibes, you don't know Tyler Robinson. Okay. His boyfriend is not 100% it was him. So I'm going back to your points that you made that this was overwhelming evidence for you. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, overwhelming just means
You can't
convincing.
consider another option that there
Well,
could have been
hang
another
on. Do you
white
agree
guy
with me
wearing
that
Converses on campus.
Yeah, do you agree with me that I said that what overwhelming means to me is that it's just very convincing to me?
Yeah, and I find it to be completely unconvincing.
fair. I
Because
understand that
I
you
looked
can
at those
find-
blurry photos
Yeah.
that they presented and said,
Mhm.
your statement on right now is that
Yeah.
he's wearing Converses and he also that's just
But
crazy
these
to
are
me.
the evidences that I find the most convincing.
Well, you said that in your Twitter,
that's not the only thing I've ever said on my Twitter about this case.
right? But the question that was asked of you was pretty
Mhm.
direct,
Yeah.
right? What did you
and
find
this
to
is
be?
not an exhaustive list of all the
Well,
things
that's
that I
not
find
what you said in the
convincing.
tweet. You can tweet longer too. It's not like we're limited now to 240 characters
So
anymore.
wait, so anything that I tweet and all other tweets that I've ever made are now excluded because I used the word overwhelming in this one.
Well, they
even
wanted-
though all of this information I've said so publicly over and over and over again is what informs my position for why I'm convinced on the case. That's bizarre to me.
I feel like this is Andrew versus Andrew. Somebody asked you a question. What are the points that you find to be the most overwhelming? And you answered.
You mean from that day, from that particular day of the hearing that I was responding to?
Okay, this is something you find to be more overwhelming? Well, you
Yes,
answer that question.
yes,
okay,
that's
what
what
do
I
you?
was
Okay,
saying,
go ahead.
yes.
Go on. What do you find to be more overwhelming?
Yeah.
Can
So
we do this? Do we want to get into it, or do we want to do a quick ad break? Are you guys good to keep going, or
I'm fine to keep going, but we can
would
also
you like to take a quick break?
doesn't
or
matter to me either
if
way.
we're going into a different topic, that may be another 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I don't want to stop you
yeah.
guys in the
Let's
middle of it.
end
So
it
what
on
would you
what
like
you
to
find
do?
to be more overwhelming.
Yeah. So for me, it's the confessions, the text messages, all of that is what I consider to be, from my opinion, that's the most convincing for me.
Okay, we should discuss the text message confessions when we get back if you'd like to.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Folks, we're going to take a quick ad break. We will be back in 3.5 minutes. Thank you.
All right, you guys. Holy Land begins position. Your kit ship
Freedom of speech. Having said that, media, if you're
this at checkout to save up to $45 off plus free shipping. That's twc.health/Candace. Kits are available. United States at
media hates the fact that we're having these conversations right now. Just so you know, they want to control it. This is free for all. This is what's best for the audience. That's why we like freedom of speech. Having said that, let's go back into the text conversation you were having, right?
Okay.
Let's stay there, and then we'll go into the cross-examination stuff in about 30 minutes.
Okay. That sounds fair. Okay. So yeah, I used basically three pillars for the totality of the evidence. Okay. So if you want to know exactly what those three pillars are, this is going to be the testimony with the text messages and the confessions. This is going to be the physical evidence, and this is going to be the totality of the summary of the case. Okay. So right.
And by the way, I'll just say up front, I'm not super privy to like the details about Tyler Robinson, what he may or may have what he may or may have not had. All these things. A lot of these things I go off the response. So Candace Owens, her theory. You have people going out their way to tell me that she's crazy, even though you've allowed her to speak for so long. You've allowed her to say her opinion on almost everything and every other thing, but she can't say this. So with somebody like me, when I see something like that, that's a immediate, I'm not going to say a red flag, but that's immediately my eyebrows are going to raise. I'm like, okay, there must be something here, because it already smells like a cover up. It smells like a setup. It smells like a scapegoat. And then you're trying to go out your way to use your platform, to use your media platforms to say this person is crazy. This person is this. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Oh, she's not. everybody's distancing themselves from this person. This is where I'm like, okay, I think my hunch, my instincts might be spot on about this. So that's how I initially saw this. That's how I initially, when all of this was going down with the Charlie Kirk situation, that's how I saw it. You know, so a lot of the times I'm not even doing a whole bunch of deep dives, because a lot of the times you can do the deep dive, afterwards. And then on top of that, people do when people care enough, they do all the research for you. So then you're like, okay, yep, that makes sense. Let me connect that here. Let me connect this dot here. Oh, okay. But give it time. Give it time. Just give it time with the whole, just give it time with this situation. Eventually the truth is going to come out, but it's going to take, it might take a while, you know, because it's common knowledge now about potentially 9/11 being a cover up. Now it's pretty normal to say that 9/11 was a cover up, but I'll say even 10 years ago, it wasn't normal to say that. And then 20 years ago, it definitely wasn't, like, at the time. But now everything that's happened afterwards, you know, looking for weapons of mass destruction that don't exist, the war that George Bush the war that man put us in, JWB, right? I'm sorry, GWB. After all of what has happened, you see, now we see what happened. Then on top of that, people are started to find out that, mind you, this is not hearsay. This is what happened. Or you know what? Let me say it's hearsay just to protect my channel. but really this is actually confirmed by the small hats themselves. Small hats got the call the day before 9/11 and they were told not to show up to work. This is confirmed by the small hats themselves. So it is what it is. So once people start seeing stuff like that and they figure these things out for themselves, it's easy to come to a conclusion. So with the Charlie Kirk situation, I think it's eventually Candace Owens is not, her opinion is, first of all, her opinion is not crazy and it's definitely plausible, but it will definitely be, it will be the mainstream opinion 5 years from now. If not even shorter, if not short, maybe 3 years from now, it'll be well known. It'll be like, okay, yeah, they got one on, like the conservatives will be like, yeah, they got one on they the people in charge, they played in our faces again.
Now we're focusing on one of these pillars in my defense, which is fine. I understand that I have to defend my claims as well. So when we're talking about the messages themselves, they seem totally valid. I have no idea why they wouldn't be valid. And I have not heard any good explanation for why it is that these messages should even be questioned. The defense hasn't questioned them, as far as I'm aware. Nobody has actually questioned that these messages came from Robinson to date, except perhaps you and other people who are kind of in that camp. But why should I question these exactly? I'm not sure.
Okay, so first let's just go over legally what the point is of a probative hearing. The defense is not they're not there to say or to argue or to defend themselves at all. They have to address what is being presented by the state. Okay, so they're not here to then say, let me give you an explanation for these text messages.
Agreed.
The relevant portion of what the defense did do was actually before we got to the preliminary hearing. I had mentioned that it was initially supposed to be scheduled for some time in May. They asked for an extension. That reading through those filings of why they were requesting an extension and why I actually believe their extension should have been granted, because they did not receive discovery on their text messages. That was one of the reasons. There were many reasons why they wanted to have an extension, but this was crucial, right? So forget just the general sense that these messages feel off. And yes, you are allowed to have an intuition. You are allowed to have a sense and just go, this is very weird. We're being told this kid had like above a 4.0, Tyler Robinson. He wanted to get away. I think the text messages almost run head to head with himself. Like he wanted to get away with it. So he thought the best thing to do would be to text a full confession of what he did, down to what I didn't even remember, saying, yeah, and that's also me in the surveillance footage. It felt a little too on the nose. People have common sense. You just don't text message. But then we're also supposed to believe that he put a note under and burn this and get rid of the evidence. But don't worry about that because I'm about to text you a full confession. That it felt off. It felt weird off the bat. The manner in which they were texting, we're told he's like a gamer who's using a Dremel to carve expressions, catch fascist. But then suddenly,
it's everything it's the typical thing. Oh, let's take this white kid who's a little bit misunderstood. He's this, he's that. Oh, and he has a transformer boyfriend or whatever. Just like the rest of the the rest of the mass shooters that have been caught recently. It's all too convenient. It's all too convenient. It's a convenient scapegoat.
he's writing like a 1700
also, as a Helldivers
novelist.
player, he did actually get the 500K code correct.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, so we'll say that if we start debating that, you'll be way over my head.
But yes,
but my point being is just that first, it's a general sense of why people had a reaction to these messages that seemed like they were written by Jane Austen rather than like a kid who games and writes.
Yeah, but do you see how that's intuition?
That is, I just said that. I said just parking aside the intuition of just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition. You should actually do that. If you say,
I think Andrew Wilson is slow. Jesus Christ.
COVID vaccine is running out, feels like it's coming out too fast, and there's too many celebrities telling me to do it. I'd like to take a pause. That's good. That is, you are allowed to do that. I believe in intuition.
But hang on. Let me respond a little bit here because you've been going for a minute. Let me at least respond to a little bit of this. So the first thing is like when people bring up the COVID vaccine.
Please catch up, Andrew. Please catch up.
Not trusting the COVID vaccine en masse was the science. That wasn't just intuition. That was the science. There was tons of competing science. Now they tried to suppress it. That's true. But there was tons of competing science for why you shouldn't take a risky mRNA vaccine and mass and things like this. Now, when you're talking about intuition, though, when you say trust your intuition, I'm actually giving a different message. You actually should be very wary about trusting just your intuition. It is true that intuition can be useful, but it has to be tempered with logic, reason, explanatory power, and evidence, not just intuition.
That's why we're parking it aside. Intuition is the first step. Something feels off, right?
Okay.
That was my first step with COVID. I don't like the way it's being pushed. It shouldn't require a celebrity campaign, by the way. Another element of that is why people don't feel good about the Charlie thing. Why do we have so many influencers saying things? It's over. Why are you guys all using the same adjective? If you switch it up, I'm overwhelmed. Like, chill. Like, you could say, I found some parts compelling. I think they should go. I found some parts compelling. Maybe we should, see at the trial. That would be kind of.
Don't you think Fed slop's a buzzword for the counter industry?
But everyone on the same day of watching this trial, which was, I would say, not overwhelming at all. Nobody came in medium, right? No one came in like there were some interesting aspects. This was a little suspect. But I do think it's enough to go to trial. They all came in like they were passing away and we're going to die from being overwhelmed.
Well, they're trusting their intuition.
Okay. Well, actually, in that scenario, they're looking at the preliminary hearing, have a reaction to it. It wasn't their intuition. But like I said, parking aside, just getting to the substance, parking that aside, just a general intuition, some might be text messages. Then we look at the filings, which came from the defense, and they were requesting an extension saying, we have gone to the prosecution and we have requested all of this stuff in discovery. Yes, you are saying that you took Lance's phone, okay, and that you collected his phone on September 11th and that you sent it off or whatever. You took a picture of the text messages and we are being given these text messages to review. Crucially, Kathy Nestor said, I have not even been given access to my client's phone during this hearing. She said, I haven't been given access.
I just seen a notification and I don't want to say anything. I do not even want to say anything. As a notification popped up on my homepage. And I am tempted to troll. I don't want to do it though, but let me stay professional.
My client's phone. She can't tell you as a part of the discovery request is it's not enough to say to me, Candace, I just got a text message from Candace, and I say I didn't send that text message. Maybe that's what her client's saying. We don't know because we're not at the trial, right? Maybe he didn't send those messages. Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple? George could be sending text messages right now. We are married. He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death sentence. So if I'm able to sow reasonable doubt with common sense, he may come during the trial and when they actually have to address these points, say, I did not write those messages. I was here. Lance, my boyfriend, was logged into my phone, logged into my Apple ID and my iCloud sending messages. I know that we have the capability because my husband does it. He has the capability to send messages from my phone. It is not convincing to the public when, for whatever reason, the FBI combined with the SBI, it was not the prosecution's fault. They made that clear during that hearing, would not allow them that discovery request to be able to see where did that message come from? Because you're saying my client was here, right? I want to know if that message actually was generated from his iPhone when he was waiting to retrieve his, rifle, hoping that the pooch doesn't have a bad sniffer, like just weird messages. I want to make sure that, yes, it was actually him. He was holding his phone and his boyfriend didn't just log in to his computer when he was home. Lance was his boyfriend. That is.
And there's a reason why they kind of want to wrap this case up. When you're dealing with the deep state, when you're dealing with political hit jobs, once you start, if you do too much digging, it's just gonna end up in a bloody mess, and really nobody's gonna win. No, I'm talking about on both sides. Nobody's gonna win because they can't, like the deep state, they can't delete everybody. But when the hit job is as sloppy as this, especially with the technology that we have, and it's still sloppy, it is what it is. I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself. I'm sorry. There's this notification that's distracting me via YouTube. There's a notification that is distracting me heavy. I ain't gonna say anything.
A crucial fact here. That discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages. Just as you feel convinced by them, I feel unconvinced by them.
Okay. So then the idea here is the reason that you don't think that these are valid text messages, and you don't, right?
It has not been proven that these messages are valid, and they don't sound valid to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone, even if someone was selling like a, I don't know, pot on the corner, would be smarter than to write a full-fledged confession. He even writes.
Pyro, I'm going to send you a text. I'm going to send you a text. I'm gonna send Pyro. I'm gonna send you a text real quick. Don't put it in the group and don't put it in the YouTube chat. But I'm gonna send you a text real quick.
I thought I would get away with it, and I was hoping never to tell you until old age. And then we're being told that he wanted to commit suicide. And okay, but he just said he wanted to get away with it, but he's not smart enough to, I don't know, maybe not text it's such a confession like we've never seen. I think this would be like the first time ever somebody has start to finish written an entire. I'm in the surveillance footage, and I'm here, and I'm wearing my Converse. I'm being a little facetious here, but it was a little ridiculous. It didn't pass the sniff test for me.
You have kids. And you love them more than anything.
I do.
If it was the case that you thought that your kid was innocent, wouldn't you be out telling everybody and their brother that you thought that they were innocent? And also, wouldn't you maybe recant and say, hey, he didn't actually confess to me. None of this happened the way that the state is presenting it. What would have prevented the parents from testifying?
Well, two things I can answer that. And if you watch my show, I keep telling you it's not vibes. So right after the shooting happened, Lance Twiggs, the FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk. And, we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happens next is that they started thinking that the feds were maybe going to, maybe not as honest as they thought. And
how do you know any of that?
You gotta watch the show, right?
Yeah, no, how do you know that?
I had a source within the Robinson family.
You have a source, an anonymous source, of course. So there's no way for us to verify that what you're saying right now is actually even true.
You find it to be reliable hearsay?
No, I don't find it to be reliable at all. It's just a source.
I'm just doing what the prosecution
What you're doing is
did.
a cool story.
It's not cool. Well, you must have hated watching
you're
preliminary hearing.
You're giving us a cool.
Andrew Wilson, you're missing the point. Well, she just explained it. That's what the prosecution is doing.
Okay, but wait,
you're saying that according to your sources, that the reason that the parents haven't recanted any of this.
Recanted what? They have no statement from the parents.
Wait, I just want to make sure that if it was the case, it was being reported in mainstream media that your father came to you and said, hey, is this you? What's going on here? And then he and one of his buddies took you in where you turned yourself in. You wouldn't go out and be like, no, that's not what happened.
That isn't what happened, though. You're just wrong on this.
Okay, maybe I'm paraphrasing. What am I wrong on?
What is your, sorry, just so I'm clear, where is your evidence that the parents turned him in?
Well, no, I didn't say that.
You said the mainstream media?
I said with a sheriff friend.
Yes.
But the father did confront him.
The father confronted what?
Tyler Robinson.
And where did you learn this? That the Tyler confronted
that's part of the official documents. Our fact checkers can pull that up. Yes.
But I'm saying, when you say official documents, do you mean you saw this on CNN or you saw this play out in the hearing?
No, this was one of the things that I went through in fact check pre-debate.
Are you talking about the charging documents?
I think it was it could have been in the charging documents, but we can pull them up.
No.
And yes, are you disputing this?
Do we have that in the back to pull it up?
I can already tell you what you're talking about, the charging documents, because this is where we had to figure out where this story came from, because everyone was operating on the assumption that Matt Robinson turned him in. until we got to the preliminary hearing and we understood, like I said, even for that, when you are charging someone, you can use hearsay. It's all probative, right?
Sure.
Nothing. So they didn't have statements. It's not like Matt Robinson, even though he was interviewed that night. Amber Robinson was interviewed that night by a Fed, separate rooms. Tyler Robinson was interviewed by a Fed. They did not produce statements saying, my son did this. I believe my son did this. But what happened was they did interviews, but also the crucial person here who you just brought up is Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the biggest unknown in this entire case. Everyone keeps saying they heard from Mike Mitchell this, they heard from Mike Mitchell that. So when the person wrote up the report that night, and it was Brian Davis who wrote up what became the charging document, he after they transported Tyler Robinson from the Washington Sheriff's County office up to, I think it's Salt Lake City. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning that they got up there. He then writes the what becomes a charging document. So he's basically saying, we all spoke to a bunch of people and here's the information that we got, right? We've not seen that. So it could have come from Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell could be saying,
I don't know how this negates the point, though. Why
it
wouldn't
truly
the
negates the
parents?
point because you don't have a statement from the parents.
Yeah,
you are going.
Why wouldn't they just correct the
it's not correcting. That doesn't
misinformation?
negate the point. The point is that we now got the preliminary hearing. If the parents were the ones who said, I'm turning my son in because he's guilty.
I didn't say they turned him in.
I think you're talking about the over. You said it's been the narrative. Everybody's known this. The narrative initially, which I think you agree with, was that, Matt Robinson knew his kid was guilty and turned him into the police station. What actually happened in terms of Sheriff Brooksby, who was present there and gave a press conference, what happened was this Mike Mitchell character essentially peer pressured him. And we can get a fact check on this. We can find Sheriff Brooksby's press conference. And he said, they know it's you and you're going to come in peaceably, or people are going to be banging down your door. He was a undercover cop, which I don't like that. I don't know what he did undercover. It's very hard to find anything about Mike Mitchell, but he worked with them for 20 plus years, the police officers. The reason why Tyler Robinson knew him was because he lived nearby and he was also his Boy Scout
How
leader.
Does this negate that the parents could write this second? And by the way, if you had the evidence,
address that point. I'm just saying that your first point, which is that the parents did this.
Yeah.
We don't know that the parents.
I didn't say that they did ever.
This boy's foot was wagging like a motherfucker during the show. But anyways, we're going to stop here for now. This is part one. We did reach the hour mark of the video. Let me see. Is this an appropriate place to stop? I think it is. An appropriate place to stop. But what I do want to show you before we go, I want to show you the end of the debate, which went viral. So let me see if I can share this tab instead. So at the end of the debate, Candace Owens calls out Andrew Wilson for not knowing any of the charges. So this is the clip that I know you guys wanted to see, because this is the main clip that's gone viral. So I'm going to show you that clip real quick. I think it's about 5 minutes long. Let's see. Here we go.
The question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage, you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty. I just think that you should.
Right.
Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really. Yeah. This is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And I
can you name all 7?
I can't.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
do it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't have to put your fingers up.
Okay, hang on. Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries a death sentence.
So murder.
No, that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so just for people, no, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all.
And it's very interesting. You come on this platform. You want to say there's overwhelming evidence to show you that Tyler Robinson is culpable of what? You don't even know any of the charges that he's that he is being prosecuted for, potentially prosecuted for. Not even one. He says, he's being convicted of murder. One of the charges is murder, bruh. And just the fact that he didn't know the difference between, the charge of murder and aggravated murder. Just the fact that he doesn't even know that. Remembering that debate when with CGA, he didn't know that a divorce is a lawsuit, or was it a child support is a lawsuit. Just the fact that he didn't know like these simple things. It really I really have to question the people that are fans of this guy. If he doesn't even know the basics of all basics, right?
Go ahead.
You don't
Name
have to put
'em.
your fingers up. I
Okay,
can do
hang on,
that.
name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay.
a death
So
sentence in the
murder.
state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so
Next.
just for people, no, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined,
Just
and
avoiding
because
the
it carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay,
You're
I'm
just going to
waiting.
recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work,
Yeah.
and you'll be better the next time you debate
I got
someone.
it. I got it. Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that
No, I
people
just
don't walk
want you
away?
to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm
tell
going to
me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very
What a dickhead.
flawed debate strategy. I
Okay,
actually
well,
am
I
under
got
no
one.
time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
What's
final,
the specific charges, though?
that is them. Obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those-
of justice, witness tampering.
Okay, wait, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being
No,
charged
no,
with
no,
it.
just the charges and then 7.
Yeah. See, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay, got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's
There's a difference, brother. There's a difference. But just to show you that there's a difference, I'm gonna do something real quick. We're gonna do a Google difference between aggravated murder and a regular murder charge. Well, in general, people should already know. you got murder 1, you got murder like you got all different types of murder charges in general. I would think he would know that. You don't just get charged with murder. There's different things. But let me share the tab with y'all. Let me share the tab. Here we go. Standard murder, intentional or knowing killing of a person, can also include a death caused during the commission of a dangerous felony, lacks specific elevated aggravating criteria. Aggravated murder involves purposeful, deliberate, or premeditated murder, what requires a statutory aggravating factor, example, lying in wait, contract killing, killing a first responder, multiple victims, or a victim under a certain age, frequently puts bystanders at a high risk of death, or involves a targeted political status and motive. And really, with these 2 things, there's a difference in sentencing when it comes to your standard murder charge and an aggravated murder charge. Even when you're talking about there's a difference between a murder charge and manslaughter. This is why when people want to plead to a lesser charge, they'll plead to manslaughter and all these things. These are basic things. these are basics. So I don't. This guy here. Is this your king? That's the soundbite I need to download.
You're quoting the parents as having said, you said that Matt.
Oh, shoot. Wrong tab. Here we go. Wrong tab.
the distinction. You just want to
It's a massive. It's
Got
like
it.
you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated murder.
massive distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be.
Oh yeah. By the way, I think like a regular murder charge. There's a limit. Like some like if you get like a regular like a standard murder, it's like you can get 15, 25. But with aggravated murder, you're talking about a life sentence. But potential life sentence with aggravated murder. So that's the difference, but specifically with the sentencing. So these things matter. I mean, can he just admit that he's wrong, or not necessarily just wrong, but just take this L. You didn't know none of the charges. You try to put her on the spot. You try to ask her for 7. She asked for 1. You couldn't give her 1. She put 7 on the spot, even though you kept trying to cut her off when she kept doing it. That I told you that happened to me, when I was trying to explain myself, people cutting me off when they know I was cooking. Now, here's the part where he's going to accuse Candace Owens of cheating.
Very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. Actually, if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also, again, want to stress to audiences that debate trying to get some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through.
Right here.
Can you guys zoom in a little bit?
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness.
The old obstruction of justice charge. We're just talking about that with Barry Bonds 3 streams ago.
And count 7
violent
offense in the presence of a minor.
Yeah. So 5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd-degree felony. Now, I did notice something I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering. When you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have.
You cheated. You cheated. You pulled out your phone. Did he really try that? Did he really try it? Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to see it?
I'm just curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD, you're the moderator. Take it.
Let's see
if anyone was texted at all during this debate.
All right.
About the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You have full permission to go through my phone. I don't need to cheat.
So the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's a compliment.
He's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission.
Yes.
I'm just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
Any other text? Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. Telegram I used in Russia. That was it. I downloaded for
I'll
Russia.
take your word for it.
Yeah. I don't need to I deeply care about this case. I don't need to pretend
I get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff
deeply
that I
care
don't
about the
know.
case,
Yeah.
I just, I have my other question is about steakhouse receipt.
Take this L. By the way, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pause this stream. Sorry, not pause. I'm ending the stream. Sorry, that was a real wrong term to use. I'm gonna end the stream. I don't know when AJ's stream started, but right now I'll put it out there. AJ right now is debating Rachel's side chick. Apparently AJ is let me see. I don't know. Well, I don't know let me see. I don't know what's happening, but I saw let me stop. Let me stop. Oh man, but right now I'm gonna go on AJ stream. I'm not gonna go on, I'm gonna be in the chat. I need to watch who's taking whose side. I'm very curious to hear AJ's I'll say this. I'm curious to hear AJ's reaction to this debate because I know AJ is going to be fair. AJ is actually going to be fair. Now, Rachel's side dude, I'm not sure. I'm not sure with Rachel's side dude. I'm not sure if he's going to do the right thing. But I'm that's what I'm going to switch to. I'm going to watch that. I'm definitely going to watch that. Yeah, shout out to Adam A. Dude. He said it's overlapping, but I love the content. But that's as soon as I saw the notification, I'm like, I know because sometimes me and OJ, why did I say OJ? Sometimes me and AJ's our live streams will overlap. But what caught my eye was who he had tagged in his description, and I was like, oh, there's no way. I was like, isn't that dude that invaded my chat that tried to convince me that Rachel Wilson was a good person, but who knows? Maybe Rachel's side dude. Maybe he's taking Candace Owens' side. You never know. So I gotta see this. I definitely gotta see this. I think they're already 2 hours in. They're already 2 hours in. So I gotta see this. I gotta definitely see that live stream. I will do part 2 tomorrow. That I can promise you. I'm gonna do part 2 tomorrow. I'm gonna finish off the live stream. And it's gonna be popping, and it's definitely gonna be popping. I'm definitely gonna be able to finish that off tomorrow. Hopefully, I can do that live stream around. I might have to do it around. I might have to. I'm not gonna be able to. I know I'm not gonna be able to do it late night. I'm most likely not gonna be able to do it late night. It's probably gonna be like around 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that. So around that time, so you'll get a notification. I'm gonna set up the stream early. I'm gonna set up the stream early, so you'll get the notification early. So yeah, we're definitely gonna get that popping. We're gonna make sure we finish off that debate. But I gotta check out what's going on AJ's stream, only because of who he has tagged in it. So this is some funny stuff. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Pyro, for the $2 super chat earlier. Hopefully we'll get to finish off not hopefully. We're gonna finish off the live stream. We're gonna finish it off tomorrow. It should not take that long. But let's see, let's get it popping. I'm gonna go on AJ's show because apparently it's popping in the chat right now. I'm looking at AJ's show, it's popping in the chat. That's that notification that I saw. That's what I saw. I was like, here we go, man. So shout out to you guys. What will I end this off with? Not sure. Let me pick. I want to pick one with some length. I want to pick one that with some length, and then also something that has to do with what I said. But yeah. Oh no. Yeah. This is the perfect one. We gonna end it off with Khalid Muhammad. Shout out to you guys, man. Take care. Take it easy. Join me. Go watch AJ's. Go on AJ's channel and join the chat. It's popping. I can already tell it's.
This is a sick Negro.